Oh boy, ladies and gentlemen, we got a lot to talk about today. It is Wednesday, August 10th, 2022. This is On the Radar Collectibles, and it is a stacked show tonight, you guys. We got all kinds of stuff to talk about. And surprisingly enough, what you guys are all waiting to hear isn't the biggest segment of the night, but we will talk about it. We'll start off the show talking about it because everybody wants to hear about it. And to be honest, I like to hear other people's opinions on it, other people's opinions that might have an outside view looking in to see what other people are thinking about it, especially my peers. I want to know what my peers think about stuff like this. And as you guys know, we're talking about the debacle at C2E2. We're going to get into that. We're going to get into a huge market report. We got Heritage doing a video game auction. We've also got some free mint NFTs that you guys can get in on. We're going to talk about those. We've got updates on the X-Men, maybe who's coming first in that X-Men Marvel universe, all kinds of goodies. But yeah, let's get into the craziness. What did you guys think when you guys first heard about what happened at C2E2 with that acetate cover?
I messaged everyone I knew that was there and said I wanted fucking one because I here's the thing. I knew that a limited Ultimate Fallout 4 variant with association with Crane, with his last few variants and some of his version stuff, you're not going to lose money out. You're just not. Miles Morales, limited availability, C2E2. We talked about it 2 weeks ago. Like I said, the Luke Skywalker book that came out a few years ago, there's always a heater that comes out of C2E2 every year. Same as in NYCC, same as San Diego Comic-Con. And this one just happened to be one that was kind of manufactured from what we've come to find out.
Yeah, in a weird way that makes it both desirable and despicable for some people, I'll say.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
I don't I get why people are mad, but the same people who are crying every hour on Instagram are doing nothing but driving. And I have one of these coming. If let's put all the cards on the table. I own one of these. So watching it rise in value by every time someone cries or posts a video about it, it's not hurting my feelings. And here's the thing. We've talked about this. The amount of fuckery that goes on between stores, the cons, and whatnot. This is what's going to happen. When there are lines for retailers and then lines for fucking working class people, that's fucked up to begin with. When there's a group of people that are allowed to come and buy 100 copies and you have to wait in line for hours and hours to maybe buy one, you're fucked up anyway. I mean, you've already started off fucked up if you ask me. So and people keep buying them though. Like I said, if people finally banded together and said these are absolutely shit, there's no reason to buy these, and left them in a stack at these cons, this shit would end very, very quickly. But like, what are we? We're on Wednesday, coming up on almost 5 days of this Black Flag acetate bullshit. And every day the value goes up $100 more. So I don't know how to feel about it. Like, I kind of understand how people are mad, but at the same point in time, when you play the game, you know sometimes you win fucking stupid prizes. And this is, in my opinion, a stupid prize. But at the same point in time, these books go up in value. You remember the Stan Lee Blood variant and shit like that. Books that everyone knows are just shit books, but they go up for a reason. This is going to be one of them.
All the recalled books that Marvel did back in the day, putting babies in microwaves. And that's one of the most wanted books out there, It's very interesting how this works. Now, the more and more that we find out as the week goes on, changes my feelings on it. And one of the things that still is at the top of my gripe level is the veterans' take. I want to know especially how veterans feel about this. And I've talked to a couple of the veterans in the community that we know. And it's very interesting to hear them talk about it. And specifically, I want to shout out Comic Man Andy, who was at C2E2. He was in line to buy these. He picked up a couple, and was honest about how many he picked up and this and that. And then he's got an interesting story coming out, that I'll let him tell. But with CGC and whether or not these items should be graded when they have such mistakes on them that are mistakes that any veteran would see and go, there's a problem there, i.e. the flag being off. You only see 3 stars on the folded flag. The stripes are off. It doesn't, instead of saying "in God we trust," it's all fucked up, and God is not capitalized. Like, there's all these issues on it that could really piss off a group of people that you never want to piss off.
But I don't think it's CGC's job to say whether they've edited the cover properly, right? I mean, or had like the right language, or whether, I mean, those details, I don't think that's a CGC thing. I think they're mostly just looking at, okay, this book, but where the issue of course comes in is with the acetate cover and just slapping a piece of acetate on an already existing book, right? So I think
here's the other thing. Marvel says, hey, if we're selling this wholesale, then you have to abide by certain rules, right? When it's not, when you're not buying it wholesale, when you're buying it retail, you don't have to abide by those rules. But if you're buying things wholesale, there's rules you have to abide by, and changing the product afterwards is one of those rules. I think that there's, and the lawyers out there might be able to look into this and find out exactly, what the issue is, because they bought 3,000 copies of these at wholesale prices. Half of them didn't sell. They said, we got a great gimmick, which, by the way, in all honesty, great fucking gimmick, great idea. If they didn't fuck it up so bad, we wouldn't be talking about how bad this book is. We'd be talking about how great this book is. But they made a mistake about how they handled it. The optics weren't good. Marvel comes out and says, we did not approve of this. Now, that's a big deal. When Marvel comes out and says, like, no, we didn't approve of this. So how does Marvel handle this now?
I think it's fucking absolutely stupid that Marvel has even mentioned it. Personally, I think that Marvel is just doing nothing but stoking the fires, because here we go. Now we have, clarification from Marvel discussing this book. Just keep on throwing gasoline on the fire. And that's what it looks like is unfortunately going to happen with this book, is it's going to continually get talked about. People are going to want it because of that. We talk about it all the time. Fucking fear of missing out, FOMO. And like I said, we're talking about it right now. And it's just human conscious that people are going to want this book. It's controversial. It's got a cool first appearance, regardless of what print it is. And then you throw in the misspells and the acetate and everything else. It's a perfect recipe. But
here's my point. My point is that, again, what everybody is saying, everybody wants what any kind of mistake or error book or, or anything of just, some bullshit. Anytime, like you said, Trey, Marvel jumping in saying, hey, we don't approve of this book, that's going to make the collector run out even more. It's almost like, when they had the books with some of the, the racial undertones or, things of that nature, those are the things that people grab on. And now they want it because it becomes a piece of history. Like, like if you can find when the day when Lois was black, you know what I'm saying? Like that was Lois being black for a day, or, any of these other era kind of books.
The slurs in the Wolverine book.
Yeah, like all of that, becomes a thing. And, in my personal opinion, I really don't want no part of this book, but the collector in me is saying I need to find as many of these motherfuckers as I can right now. That's no bullshit.
Yeah. I think that's happening to a lot of collectors out there.
Yeah, and I will say also, just being at, I think I mentioned this like after that week at San Diego Comic-Con, but I don't see what happened here as too much different from what normally happens probably everywhere else, because every variant, like every major variant that I was looking for, if I really wanted to try, I say, okay, let me wake up early, let me get over there, leave the hotel by 8:30, get in line by 9, con floor opens, 9:30, 10 o'clock, whatever. I get to the table at like 9:38. Let's say it opened at 9:30. I get there at 9:38. They're gone. Like those Mandalorian variants were all gone. Every day.
Have you seen that book?
What's that?
Every day that book is going up and up and up. That black
and
white.
But you could buy as many as you wanted, and the exhibitors can just go up there and just grab them, right? Like they can just go right up to the table at 9:30.
A lot of people are really pissed at that, and this is a great thing to kind of hit on real quick, because I'll be honest, I think that the hate that a lot of these guys are these content creators and sellers are getting is a little bit unfounded, and for this reason and this reason only. What they did, making deals with another retailer about buying books on a wholesale level and buying in large chunks, has been done by every other fucking retailer in the game for the last 30 years. Every con that's ever been that's ever happened. It just happens before the con goers are seeing it. It happens the day before. It happens 3 hours before they let guys in. Con dealers are making deals behind the scenes. They're doing all this different stuff. So it's very interesting. It's
what's fucking interesting to me is that people follow this Jim Mint fucking guy, because I remember who Jim Mint is, and now he's the poster boy and telling people what to buy. That guy is so fucking sketchy, and yet it's so crazy to me that the personalities that are paid personalities that we all know by certain groups, it's like, what did these guys do other than be fucking douchebags and get shit shut down and steal content from other groups? It's literally Comic Tom. What the fuck does he do? What, literally? Someone tell me some speculation or something that guy has done. It's so crazy to me, the followers that some of these fucking goobers have. And you're like, what is your resume? Like, what? Half of these guys, that's what's so crazy, is 3/4 of these people don't read comic books. How in the fuck can you talk about comic books if you don't read them? But yet, a majority of the people, from what I have seen in the last 3 to 4 years since I stepped away, it's the people listen to people that don't even read comic books. It's like they get a copy of previews and look and see who the cover artist is and what the variant ratio is, and that's what they post.
Yeah.
Or they go back and steal some shit from somebody's old post and use that as speculation. But it's just like some of the personalities and some of the people that have been elevated to these positions are fucking false people that shouldn't be in that. Fucking hey, don't.
Hey man, I'll be honest, man. I'm talking about it. I'm tired. Yep. I'll let Trey walk away, but I'm talking about it. This is ridiculous right here. And I don't disrespect 3 of those guys standing there. One of them I definitely disrespect because of the shit that was said behind the scenes about these other 3 guys in this photo. The banter, the hate towards them for 3 straight years, and now you're standing together in unity, and a big, huge retailer went up to said person to throw away all the beef, to say, hey, there's more important things in comic, and you refuse, but you're going to stand next to these 3 guys who you literally talk shit about for 3 years so hardcore that it's not right. And this is the type of shit that is the bullshit to me, right? Like, I think that there is things that are more important that are coming out of this con than this right here. This is a big deal, but I don't think we're going to be talking about it in 3 months. Yeah, I think that changes will be made. Will the changes be made other places? I got no respect for people that talk shit about people behind their backs, and then go and be buddy with them when it comes about money. There is a thing about that, and money changes a lot of people, and we'll see how we talk about this event, this C2E2 event, in 90 days. I'm very interested to see how we're going to talk about it. Very interesting.
Hey, Chad, that's great. I respect the fact that you have been talking comics for 35 years and you don't read shit. It's like me talking about fucking softball. I've never played softball, but I could walk into a room full of women and talk about softball and look like a fucking idiot because I've never played the game. You see what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about. You can talk about comics all you want to, but you don't talk about speculation. I don't see you having a page where you're, telling people to buy shit, which is completely fine. Who I'm talking about are the people that come on 5 different times a week on 4 different platforms, showing you and telling you what books you should buy when their back pocket's greased full of fucking dollar bills. That's what I'm talking about. You can do whatever the fuck you want to. Like I said, if you know me at all, that's what I spend your money the way you want to spend your money, but be informed where your fucking money is going when you spend it, is all I'm saying.
Well, I think the other thing is that, the publishers caught on, right, to the fact that people are just looking at covers and first appearances. And now you just have all the publishers focusing on that now, right? Whereas there were just a few first appearances every week. Now it's like, every week is just laced with first appearances. You go to the store, every publisher has a few first appearances at least. Marvel probably has like 6, a weekly. DC has 4 to 5. So it's definitely going off of that discussion for sure.
Yeah. Daryl, this is definitely PG-13. This show is not for kids, that's for sure. Here's the other thing. Now, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens this weekend, because if all things had gone well for Black Flag and we were talking good about them, they would have made a killing this weekend, right? No matter what.
Right.
What's funny though? No offense. Sorry. This is literally like Al Capone writing about prohibition, though, with fucking Rich Johnson writing anything.
I agree.
Because that's the dirtiest son of a gun that there is. That guy's, don't get me started. I know he's friends with people that y'all are friends with, but literally him.
Not that I know of. You know what I mean? And I agree with you. I don't think Rich is the cleanest, is definitely not the cleanest one in this thing.
No.
So, but here's the thing. The guy is able to get these things answered. Now it would be nice to hear from some of these people that are taking a lot of heat, aka Nerdy Girl, aka Gem Mint, aka Tom. But here's the problem: the optics are so bad, the way they played it are so bad that the hate is strong right now. And the worst thing that you can ever do, in my opinion, is take a video down or turn off comments, because you instantly look guilty. And all 3 of them did that. And then on top of it, Tom and Gem Mint made, I don't know Tom, I don't know Gem Mint. Never talked to him, never met them in my life, but they made a mistake on an optic level by putting out a video recently that says what it said. And let me pull up this thumbnail here, because it's the interesting part. They decided to put out a video.
All I'm saying is I'm glad Ben got the top 10 back, because watching that fucking thing on the Comic Tom made me fucking gag.
Yeah. Here's what I'm talking about right here, you guys. This right here. It's fake. Counterfeit comic selling. Now, where did it go? Damn it.
Do people not remember him with dreadlocks and do people, that's what hurts my head, is like.
Yeah, this is it right here, you guys, where you can see this one right here. It says it's fake, counterfeit comic selling. And you got Gem Mint on the front looking like, whoa. And then Tom with this shit-eating grin on his face with a CGC hat, and Gem Mint's shit-eating grin behind him. You guys knew what you were doing when you put out this optic. You look like you're laughing at us. You look like you're laughing at the people that are mad. And that doesn't look good. Whether you believe it or not, it doesn't look good. Why even put that out? I mean, you already took down videos. And then, I don't know, man. The optics are so bad that it's very surprising to me that they would make those mistakes. Very surprising. And again, let's get back to Boston. What's going to happen at Boston? All eyes are going to be on this event. Clayton Crane's not going to be there. He already backed out. Smart move on him. Maybe it was just shitty timing because he had a death in the family. I really hope not. That would suck. But he's not going to be there. I want to know what Clayton Crane has to say about this. Are they going to actually decide to sell these books again? You know, now they're doing a Ghost Rider book and a Deadpool book. They're both going to have acetate covers on them again. They're going to have these weird things. Did Marvel approve these? Like, optics do not look good. They do not look good.
Yeah. Well, do you think if they do sell them, do you think these books will be hot, or do you think they'll be duds?
That's a great question, man. That's a great question. I don't know, man.
If you read the shit article, some of these have already been presented to CGC as acetates to be graded.
Yes,
they're
100%.
So I mean,
wow,
they're that far along in the process, according to the article.
Yeah. Yep.
The reality is, this is such a shit show on such a massive level. The fallout of this, we're going to see this for the next couple of cons. If this is still the road that everybody's trying to go down, this is not good on no level. Is it any good? And again, now, and I said this before the podcast started. I was telling the guys, man, controversy sells. Be it good, be it bad, controversy sells. With this particular situation, the fallout is what's going to be what everybody is. The fallout is going to determine what's going to happen with these books. Bottom line, fallout is what's going to say whatever it is.
Same thing happens every time. There'll be zero fallout. What are people going to boycott Marvel? Not happening. They're not going to boycott CGC. They might be mad at Black Flag until the next variant that comes out that has an artist that they like, and this shit's over with.
Yeah, that's that's probably it right there. That's why I keep saying in 90 days, are we going to be talking about this? Is it going to be put on the shelf, or is there going to be changes made? Now, here's the thing. Marvel's taken some heat over this. They're already taking some heat over this. Are they going to say there's repercussions for doing something like this? Because here's the thing. No matter what anybody says, this was a genius fucking move business-wise. If they would have played this smart, spent a little bit more time thinking about it, how to roll it out, there's a way to sell your issues that you aren't able to sell anymore, because a lot of retailers out there are sitting on huge stacks of boxes of quote unquote exclusives that they did a year and a half ago or a year ago that they were unable to sell the whole run. You throw a quick acetate cover on it, boom, it creates some more energy and some more eyes on it, some more want in it, and you're able to sell those books. That's smart as hell. But the optics were so bad, they didn't think. I'm really surprised that they didn't show that to somebody and somebody didn't say, hold on here. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if any of you guys came to me and showed me that, I would kind of go, I would look at it. I would take my time to look at it. And I would go, hey, man, there's some mistakes on here, some glaring mistakes. Do you want to put this out with those mistakes?
Right.
The first thing you do is you talk to a veteran and have him look at the flag. I mean, that's just common fucking sense stuff that you do when you put a flag to try to, for the reason that they put the flag on there, which we all know what the fuck it is, to be honest with you, for the effect and the whole 9 yards. They need to do it respectfully and do it correctly. And like you said, there's 3 different errors just off the jump that you could see.
And there's a precedent that's being set. Maybe this is, and I had a really good friend of mine on the inside tell me something that really surprised me that I didn't think about. Marvel maybe had to say something, not necessarily because of the issue, other than the flag issue, because now there's a precedent, right? If Marvel comes out and says this is okay, then you start seeing other flags on this book. You could see a Russian flag on a book. You could see a Mexican flag on a book. You could see an Irish flag on a book, right? Does Marvel want all these different countries' flags to be sold on a book? Is there things in the past where this has happened? I can't think of it. Where something like this in the past has happened, where there's, it's just open to put whatever you want on the book and sell it, right? Marvel's got to okay that stuff, especially if it's resale. So
the other thing is, Marvel clearly makes money when somebody does an exclusive, right? So isn't this kind of sidestepping that royalty that Marvel should be receiving for a perceived new variant?
You would
right?
think. You would think.
That's a great question.
Because technically, if they did the first run, Marvel would have gotten whatever royalty it is. But if they're marketing this, 6 months, a year later as a new exclusive where they're adding something to it and calling it a different book, then it is also sidestepping Marvel.
Yes. Well, they already paid for 3,000 copies. If they only sold 1,500 of those copies and they have 1,500 left, here's the question for me, legality wise. And from the people that I've talked to that are in the business, this answer seems to be no. But my question is, for the 1,500 that are left, can you do whatever you want to them and sell them because they're your books? And the answer that I get a lot of the times from the people on the inside is no, because they bought them at wholesale value. Now, I don't know how true that is, but when you hear this from certain people, that you think are credible, it kind of makes you ask that same question. That's what I want to know. I want to know how Marvel's going to handle it, right? Because now it's an issue. Marvel's involved. I really want to know what CGC is going to do, because CBCS came out and said, if this happened for us, it would get this grade with a fake cover on it, right? A reprint cover on it. Just like you would take a Golden Age book that doesn't have a cover and you would print out a cover. You can do that. It's going to get a qualified grade or a certain grade because of that. But there was 9 9s and 10s, you guys.
Yeah. So what are they not grading they're grading the acetate and not the cover, or how was that happening?
I really want to know. I really want to know. There's a lot of questions. And here's the interesting thing. I didn't expect this to last as long as it has. It's really surprised me how much has picked up, how many people have started talking about it. It is one of the biggest news stories. Yeah, maybe CBR hasn't, or Newsarama hasn't talked about it. But when you get Bleeding Cool talking about it, when you go on your social media and that's all every other third post is talking about, it's got heat. So we're going to see what happens. And I'm sure we're going to be talking about this over the next couple of weeks. Interesting to see what's going to happen out of Boston.
Yeah.
So very interesting, you guys. All right. Let's get into some of the good news that's happened over the last week or so. There's been some very interesting rumors going around or picks going around that I think is very interesting. One that I want to talk about first is this right here. Very interesting to see this. We knew the character was coming, but now we're starting to see, images of Riri's armor.
That's fucking Seamus. Okay,
it looks like Metroid, bro.
Yeah.
But I'll be honest, that looks fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah. Fire.
I dig it.
That looks so damn good. It's unreal how good that looks. Now, it obviously looks like she's got herself a hold of some armor and she's kind of retrofitting it and adding different stuff. But man, it looks fucking good.
Well, if you go back to the Black Panther trailer, she's actually designing some shit in the trailer. Now, this, I think, what we're looking like, if I want to say it's right, this is coming from the Disney Plus. This is coming from the Disney Plus side, correct?
Yeah.
So I know if you go back to the Black Panther trailer, there's a scene where she's actually, cutting out the Iron Heart and making all the shit. So we got a lot of shit going on.
She does look more like Master Chief than she does Ironheart.
Yeah.
Uniform 13 said that is not me, but he's not wrong.
She looks like Master Chief. Oh.
And this is what's funny is this is the first look at the hood, but it looks like 1975 Doctor Strange. With that fucking cape. There's a guy at the club I used to go to who has that same fucking cape and boots. I swear to God, they call you the judge. I dance
at the strip club with that cape and boots on.
That's what I mean.
Asperata, baby. I'm out here with it.
Let's talk about the hood real quick, because there has been some interesting sales on this front as of late.
Who is buying these books? Who is excited? Who saw that picture of that dude, that metrosexual in a fucking cape, in his fucking pirate boots and said, I need that motherfucker in my collection tonight for that 14 seconds. He's going to be in Black Panther 2. That we talked. I just don't understand where speculation is going and like where people put their money at and for what reason. It's just like, are you excited about the Hood being in? But do you think that the Hood is literally going to have anything longer than 3 minutes in that movie?
Yeah,
I swear to God, asking you 3.
You're right. We're back to speculating on, and I love Stein because Stein brings this up all the time. We're back to speculating on C&D characters. It feels like we're back to Suicide Squad and Guardians of the Galaxy when those first came out, and the next thing you know, we're specking on, C&D characters that Trey is 110% right. The chances are this character getting more than 30 minutes in this movie is slim to none.
And it's a Marvel villain, so they're gonna fucking kill him. So I mean, where's the money? These $500 purchases? How are you gonna generate more revenue after that $500 once this character goes back into the oblivion? Are you gonna be excited when they do a what if episode in 2029 about what if the fucking Black Panther bought the Hood or some bullshit? You might get a $20 bump in that year, but it's just like.
And I know there's people out there that are thinking right now, well, the Hood, they're bringing him back in the comics. So you know why they're bringing him back in the comics is because he's getting ready to be in a movie.
Yeah, right. Of course.
That is the MO of every single, comic company out there. You got to pad that opening weekend with characters and
I think though that the interesting thing with Marvel is, like you were saying, Brian, I mean, they do bring in a lot of C&D characters, but some of these characters do take off, right? I mean, on the small screen or the big screen. So, I mean, a lot of these characters who were pretty irrelevant when we were growing up, I mean, they're known by all these kids now. So I think maybe people are just looking at this stuff and speculating on that. But I mean, I agree with what Trey is saying. The villains, I don't know, for the most part, it never works out. Unless it's just a massive, massive villain, I don't think it's going to do it. It's not going to do anything.
Well, here's my point. If you see that this book is selling for $500, like Nate 138 said, yo, go get your money right now.
Yes.
Fuck all the bullshit.
Yeah, if you have this, put this sucker up.
Throw that hoe on eBay, right? Throw it on the bay tonight. Get your money tonight.
And you're not wrong, because here's the thing. All comic book collectors like us who watch these pages and the Twitter and the Instagram for the news, we're seeing this. So whenever the Hood actually makes the next trailer, which they'll probably give a glance if they're already showing this shit, he'll get another bump on eBay. People are dumb and will fucking buy this again when they see him on the live action. So if you do, you're 100% right. If we're going to be sharks in a speculator market, you need to get your copies ready to get up immediately, because the run, that couple weeks where speculators actually have a chance of making money on photos like this and trailers is right now.
Yeah.
I see Lewis talking about look at Wong. Wong is not really a great example, because Wong has been in the past, how many movies? Marvel movies. And, Wong has just kind of, made his own kind of way. This little Red Hood bullshit is a money play. Like, if you got the book and you got the time, throw that hoe on the bay and go get paid. Like at the bottom, at the least, go get paid. Wong is going to be around for whoever knows how long.
Hey, I'm a big collector. I can't tell you the first appearance of Wong, and I've never in any text message or group thread I've ever had has anyone ever been like, "Hey guys, I just picked up the first appearance of Wong," and I'm being truthful. Like he's relevant in the MCU, not relevant really in the Marvel comics. They've pushed him to this. I mean, yes, he's in the Marvel comics, but they've elevated him in the movies to a character that he's far beyond in the comics.
Well, it's just like how you guys were talking about the Black Panther character last week. That we should be giving more love and talking about, right now, because he's been in the movies. What's that character's name that plays the from the Gorilla Clan?
Oh,
M'Baku?
M'Baku?
M'Baku. Yeah, M'Baku is a great fucking character. I mean, he's not that great where I remember his name, but he's better than a lot of those characters out there, and he's got a great, rich comic book history. He's been around for a while. He's got he's played in a great way by a great actor that people enjoyed in the first, however many movies he was in. Like, why isn't that character getting the type of love that Shuri is getting? It's really weird. It's really interesting how this market is played out. Do you guys think that is because we're dealing with such a new group and such an influx of new people in the market?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it's what we talked about. We have comic book people that read comic books and love comic books for reading them. Now, the biggest group of comic book fans are the Marvel Cinematic Movie fans who haven't read. They don't know the history like some of us do. Like I said, some of us were fucking nerds when we were growing up. Like I said, we get offended when the Claremont X-Men get brought up and, who was better, McFarlane, Liefeld, Lee, shit like that. These people don't have any of those legs or anything soapboxes to stand on. They've just watched the movies.
Yeah.
So when it's literally trying to argue with a brick wall with them, and you're like, okay, well, this is what really happens, and this is what happens. They have a total different expectation as to what, like myself, does when it comes to a movie. And Marvel's going to have a really hard time of trying to meet everyone in the middle. To try to, like, I've complained about the movies and podcasts recently that, I want 2 hours of the reason I read comics is I want 2 hours of fucking fist fights. I want the opening page Wolverine jumping in the middle, and 2 hours later, the same thing. That's what I want in a comic book movie. I don't want to watch a soap opera. It's just me.
Right.
Yeah.
But some people do. Like I said, like, it's crazy. Like, I thought the Eternals was absolute shit. You go read some of the reviews of the Eternals. I mean, people are sounding like it's fucking Casablanca. I'm like, what movie are y'all watching?
Yeah, well, those are people
different strokes for different folks.
Well, those aren't people that actually read the comic. To your point, those are people who were just looking at the movies and looking at the graphics and the CGI and and the one of the best fight scenes and just some of those things that nobody is looking at the continuity of it. They're just looking at the movie aspect. Oh shit, you got Angelina Jolie in it. That's shit.
I hate her. I do not like her as a person, but she was badass in that movie, and you couldn't take her eyes off her. She was smoking hot. Her fucking movements looked good. The Eternals was a weird movie. Like, they kind of went the normal Disney route where they did a few things that were a little bit off bases, but I actually like the Icarus stuff.
So do I.
I can, and what's crazy is with the Axe and the Judgment Day stuff that I've been talking about and reading about, the Eternals are not going away. They are going to be a integral part of the Marvel comic universe and the cinematic universe going forward. So
that's a perfect way to segue, as our old buddy Coy would say, to segue into the Axe Judgment Day stuff. Some new books came out.
One did today too. Judgment Day 2 came out today, and it was more an Avengers centric issue. It was back kind of like I said last week. A perfect example. We talked about it. Cersei, one of the Eternals, came back to try to help. She left the bad Eternals and she tried to warn the Avengers. Well, the very first Celestial, the Celestial God, he has this crazy name. I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. He crash landed on Earth. If you go back to the Avengers 1 storyline, it goes back to the very first Phoenix, Odin, all the very first Avengers. This is the Celestial that they took down, and it's currently the Avengers base. But this is a Celestial God. Well, in this issue, it's being narrated by the Celestial. And it basically talks that he's in the same vein as Ultron and things like that, and that Tony Stark is his father. Anyway, he comes to light at the end of this issue, becomes sentient, and he is going to judge all of humanity or destroy the Earth. The X-Men, humanity, the Avengers, individuals, etc. If you go and look at all the different comics that are coming up, and what's crazy is they're saying the biggest speculation play could be the Spider-Man book, because in the Judgment issue, they're finally going to bring up the fact that the Mephisto, the One Bad Day deal, that he's going to be judged in front of everybody. So everybody's finally going to be made aware of that deal.
What
so
do you
there's
think?
A lot of,
what do you think, Trey, about the Mr. Sinister stuff? Because
he's the best character in the Marvel and the X-Men stuff.
Yes.
Because he's doing most of the narration. Like, if you read any of the X books, there's these cool panels that have like little summaries, and then they have like notes from the Quiet Council. They're always from the head of Sinister, and he lets you know there are tons of Easter eggs. Like, is there a reason that Professor X hasn't taken his mask off in the last couple years? I mean, if you read the stuff that Sinister's saying, he's literally telling you where the speculation and where all this stuff's going on X-Men.
Yeah, I love how they're writing Sinister. I love how Hickman's been playing out Sinister. He's so underrated as a character. He's much more than just an X-Men villain.
But you know, he wasn't a mutant.
I didn't know that.
He's not a mutant. He was a human. And when studying the apocalypse and the celestial technology, he figured out how to become a chimera by fusing his own DNA and becoming a mutant. And there's issues. If you read the Quiet Council, my guy from last week, I talked about X Factor 92. Anybody remember his name? Anybody pay attention?
Yeah, I'm spacing on it though.
All right, I'm gonna see if anybody can remember. I'm not gonna say it.
Everybody in the chat, remember the character X-Men 90, X Factor 92.
Who was it?
92.
He's in it. I've seen him in 2 panels since you've.
Yeah.
But anyway,
what are we talking about?
The X-Men, the Judgment
see
Day.
If Vinny paid attention last week. Who was the character I talked about from X Factor 92 last week, Vinny?
This guy right here, right?
Exodus.
Yes.
Vinny paid attention. Excellent. Vinny, you get Airhead. You sent me
Thank you. Appreciate it. You Trey, I was trying to get these. I was trying to get the newsstands at SDCC.
But anyway, in this issue, it also shows a little bit of what happened when I was talking about last week when I said that those Pokemon-looking fucking giant creatures got unleashed. They are called the Hex. They are, like I said, those guys right there. They are Eternals, but they come from Uranos's armory. They're like his personal kaijus.
Ooh.
And like if you look at it, and what's badass in the the third panel, Exodus takes out one of them by himself. And then basically it's kind of some of the X-Men badasses, Polaris and a couple of those fighting these kaijus until the end when the judgment and everything happens. See, like right there, that's where the God finally becomes sentient and says cease and becomes the judgment. So
that's badass, man. It looks great. The art is killer. This is what we want from X-Men. Like I don't know the Powers of 10 stuff and everything that Hickman started with last year. It went in these waves where a lot of it just didn't make sense. Some of it was really cool. A lot of it didn't hold me. This stuff is really, really good right now.
This is where I'm afraid. I'm afraid that they're going to dilute it down with, how they do with any type of crossovers. There's going to be New Mutants, X Factor. There's going to be so many issues that I'm afraid that they'll do what they kind of did with the King and the Black and almost dilute it down, which they do in every single crossover we've ever had in our whole lives. But man, I'm excited about this because I want to see like Thor fight against Storm. And I want to see those battles. And the fact that now they're being written equally finally because of if you read the stuff in the last X-Men versus Avengers, they knew that the X-Men were already on their way out. So they wrote them that way. The X-Men got their fucking ass kicked in 85% of those books. And we all know that wouldn't happen if it was real life. So I want to see Storm versus Thor. Don't anybody? Literally.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's the kind of stuff we want to see. That how great would that be on a movie screen?
Yeah,
Wolverine versus Captain America. Those battles that we all remember in our head from a kid, they're still relevant to this day.
What do you think about the variants? Is there any variants that you think are worth keeping an eye on? Okay.
See, that's another issue I have with store variants is when all the good artists are getting paid fucking side store cash. They're not going to do good incentive variants for Marvel or DC because there's no money in it.
No.
And so the incentive variants, the ones that we loved and kind of grew up on, they're going to be shit going forward. Like I said, that's why this like Peach shit. That's horrible
this is
art,
garbage.
in my personal opinion.
Yeah, it looks like a kid drew it. I'll be
There's
honest.
13-year-olds that are laughing at this right
Yes.
now, not realizing she's a millionaire off this shit. And
Yes.
this is just my opinion.
Yep. No,
But-
I've said the same exact thing, Trey. I think that 90% of her stuff looks like a 13, like you said, a 13-year-old drew it. There she hits one in every maybe 10. That she maybe she's not a bad artist, I don't think, because she has put out really good stuff. When she plays that when she hits on her traditional Japanese style, with the Usagi stuff and some of the Ninja Turtle stuff, and she's hit with that same style and some of the Marvel stuff she's done. It's gorgeous, but I feel like a lot of it looks exactly like we're saying a kid drew it.
Yeah.
The one cool thing that happened though is one of the kaijus, and like I said, they were called the Hex. I think Patrick Milligrano was asking about it. That group of kaiju were called the Hex. They are, like I said, they are from Uranos's armory. Well, anyway, one of them gets in a psychic battle with Exodus. This kaiju creates a nuclear bomb to kill all the X-Men, and it does. And what's crazy is in the next panel, it basically talks about the whole resurrection process. It's like there's 15 million mutants that still need to be, reanimated and brought back to life, but warriors that take care of this island get brought back first. And it showed Exodus and all the mutants being rebooted.
I saw that.
It's just a very interesting concept because I didn't know a lot about the Eternals and then the variant stuff. But then it makes so much sense about mutants being variants. And then with the fact that now with Hope's powers and the other four, that they're able to 100% live forever. And the fact that the Scarlet Witch came back a couple months ago and created the Vault, which has all the personalities and psyches of all the dead mutants from all the 15 million dead mutants from Genosha. I mean, the X-Men are fucking primed. I mean, Hickman did an amazing job with the House of X, the swords, everything else. And I've talked about it multiple times. Also, I made a mistake. The High Summoner's first appearance was not X-Men 12 that we talked about last week. It was in Swords of Swords 1.
Yes.
I had a couple people mention that to me, and you are 100% correct. So apologies about that.
Well, now that we're talking about the X-Men, let's jump into another rumor that that they're talking about. Marcus brought this up in our chat. Giancarlo Esposito reveals he's talked with Marvel and he's interested in playing Professor X. Man, this guy is everywhere. Star Wars,
Breaking Bad.
Yeah, Breaking Bad. Now he's going to be in the MCU. Man, this guy can do no wrong right now.
I'm with it, but I'm not with him playing Professor X. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm really not. Like when I see if it's not Patrick Stewart, and I know Patrick Stewart is old as shit. But if it's not Patrick Stewart, I don't even know. I mean, okay, you may do a multiverse thing and maybe a different Earth. I mean, we gotta. I mean, he's a phenomenal actor. He is an amazing actor. I'm not here to shoot. I'm not here to shoot him down. But if it's not Patrick Stewart, I can't. I've been, but again, I mean, what do I know? I mean, you know what I'm saying? I know he's an amazing actor. I've seen him in several movies.
What's wrong with James McAvoy?
Nothing.
Like this is not going to be a popular take. I promise. I don't understand why. Like, if you read the X-Men, I just don't have. He's not an upstate New York elite that Charles Xavier is. If you read the X-Men and the history of the X-Men, I think he is an incredible actor. But this is just Marvel forcing something there that doesn't need to be there. And I promise you this, as great of an actor even as he is, people are not going to like him as Professor X.
No.
And here's the thing. And the same fucking reason why people probably didn't like the Batgirl movie that got canned.
Yes.
Let's fucking be honest.
Yes.
It's bullshit, but it's the truth. That's the world that we live in.
No, and I see what Heroes Reborn is saying. He's saying that this will be a Professor X from a parallel universe. I get that, but that's my point. Like, again, when you think Professor X, it's almost like who else could play Tony Stark? Who else could play Tony Stark? It's not to say that there won't be another person that comes, but if you're not thinking Robert Downey Jr., is who else can play?
Well, let me play devil's advocate now. I have an answer personally, and I'll talk about that after you guys say it. But let's play devil's advocate. You say that you think that about Tony Stark. What about when they had Michael? What was his name that played Kingpin in the Affleck movie? And then they have Vincent D'Onofrio, right? Same type of thing. Do we look at Michael Clark Duncan as that role was not good because of that? Because he's not.
Everyone's afraid to say it. I mean, it's so crazy when you mix race roles.
Yes.
No, everyone's afraid to talk about it. It's the same type of thing. You know what I mean?
I don't think it's as much as because we're looking at race wise, and I think a lot of people want to throw fire on that or throw gasoline on that fire. It's because we're comic fans. We grew up with this Professor X. We grew up with this Kingpin. We grew up with this, whatever character. You can throw any character, any race, any gender in there. Would you want to see a female, a male white Storm? No.
Storm is a powerful black woman, and that's the only thing she should ever be played. Shouldn't be an Hispanic, a Filipino, nothing. It should be of an African descent because that's where fucking Aurora is from. That's what I mean. It's just like,
do you want to see a white guy play T'Challa?
No, that would be Twitter would burn. You literally the flames from fucking Twitter.
That movie, from space. The amount of riots that would take place if somebody movies there would be a strike in movie theaters. There would be nobody. They wouldn't let nobody in the theater.
Yeah, you guys remember the backlash when they made fucking Finn Jones the white guy?
Great point.
Yep. The
Iron Fist. Yeah.
They're like, well, it should be an Asian. It was like, how in the fuck is this not racist as fuck?
Yeah.
They literally, and Marvel has changed the character since to make it an Asian, which is completely fine. But it's just like, could you imagine if the roles were reversed the other way?
Yeah.
Right.
There's so many things that he could play that he would be amazing at. And I'm sure he would be great as Professor X. But until Patrick Stewart fucking dies or James McAvoy goes away, I don't see any other reason to have anybody other than those two play it.
So now this is good. Bob Roper. Sorry if I offended anyone, but hated when Nick Fury was played by Samuel L. Jackson.
That doesn't make him racist, though. By having that opinion, right?
I get that, and Bob, I'm not even as a black man. I'm telling you, I'm not taking offense to that comment, bro. I get exactly what you're saying, but it goes
sometimes it hits.
Yeah, but even that, it goes back to what Trey was saying, how Marvel is taking these movies and people that haven't been reading the comic books, right? Haven't been reading the comic books, know nothing about Nick Fury and anything like that. If you didn't read the comics, then I get it. We got it. Okay. Yeah, Samuel Jackson crossed the barriers. I get all of that. But you're saying, and I'm not saying you're saying that as a person that never read the original comic book. I'm saying it from the space of I read the originals. I read when, Sergeant Fury and all his team and everything like that and putting together a team. But I also saw how Marvel was putting Samuel L. Jackson together and said, hey, I want to create a team. And he put together the Avengers and, just the whole 9 and 10. I get both sides of it. But again, I see your point.
Yeah, I'm not.
Battle Scars 5 and 6, though, that introduced an African-American Nick Fury before the movies came out.
Got it.
Remember as his son? Do you remember that?
Yep.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I didn't have an issue with that because it was precedent was set in a comic book. And now I can't – it's honestly Samuel Jackson's Nick Fury, I feel about him the same way as I do Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans. Like, I don't want anybody else playing that part. Like,
thanks.
Like, I enjoyed like that last one. He's up in the space pretending he's on vacation and then gets up and goes. I mean, he's Nick Fury.
Right.
But here's the thing. I don't know. It's so crazy that there's just so many good actors that are, and there's so many good roles that are left. It's just, I feel like Marvel's going to try to shoehorn some shit in there to make everything fit in this social box, and it's going to push people away.
Yeah.
And to your point, I'm looking at, Joe Seaburn, and he was saying, how do they replace Wolverine? You're 100% correct. Hugh Jackman is Wolverine. I know they had Taron Egerton, the kid from Kingsman. He was looking at it. And it was one other person that was looking at it that they've already been in talks with about, Wolverine. But I think that, again, you're dealing with a generation of people who are not reading these comics. So the first time that they're meeting these people in the movie theater.
Yes. I think that the last 20 years have really just, you know what I mean? And we forget that there's another generation, that's coming up right now that look at things a different way. And that's who they're trying to sell this stuff to. Now, here's the question. Should they be trying to sell that stuff to that generation, or should they be continuing to look at our generation to sell it to? That's the question.
Right? I mean, I think they're probably thinking about the next generation. They're thinking about what they want to see. I think people in the next generation probably want to see people of different ethnicities represented, whereas the comics coming up, right? I don't think there was much diversity. So that's probably where a lot of it's coming from. I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of thinking one way before Bob's comment, but when he said Nick Fury, I wasn't even thinking about it. And then I was like, damn, you know what? Maybe it's worth having an open
That's
mind.
why conversation is so damn important.
Absolutely. And what's great and what's cool about everyone so far is that we've had a good conversation and no one's gotten offended from what I've seen, and everyone can say that their opinion. And that's the way it should be, because 7 out of 10 things most people aren't going to agree on, but we all like comics. We all like speculation. And it seems like we all want to be here on Wednesday nights to hang out. And that's what we need to focus on. Because there's going to be things I probably say that probably aren't going to be liked, and vice versa. But there's so many more things that we all like. That's what we should focus on. Instead of the few things we don't, it's all the things that we do like and we do like together. And this is obviously one of them.
One of the things when it comes to talking about the younger generation is, what the stuff that they're into. And one of the things that they're into heavily is the NFT market. And comics and big companies are really trying to figure that out. One of them being Marvel and getting into the NFT market with this recently, the AF-15 NFT. Very interesting how all this went down. We got Vinny and Marcus who are constantly in the chat talking, what's coming, what there is, what it takes to get it. And I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on the AF-15.
Loved it. I thought it was an interesting drop. If you hear, it's the same thing. The same amount of people that are complaining about Black Flag and whatnot and acetate covers are complaining about the AF-15 drop.
Yep.
And you know why? The same amount of people didn't get the book. So instead of not getting it, the easiest thing for people to do is to try to tear it down and to devalue it because they didn't get what they wanted. Right. And that's what's going on with a lot of these NFTs, especially these high-end, these super rares and things like that from the Vive Marvel collectability side.
Yeah. So on the it was a couple days ago, and the team, we talk, through text message almost every other day in some way, shape, form, or fashion. And when I hit this, I told everybody, red alert, it's not a drill. Amazing Fantasy 15 is coming up. Everybody needs to get it. Do whatever you got to do. This is one of the ones that you want to get, especially with everything starting to turn around for VV. We all know that Pokemon is coming on VV. That is going to be a game changer on this whole VV market. I talked to Vinny a lot, talked to Trey a lot. Me and Bryan been talking. We talked about it, but then VV did a thing where, they had this thing, KYC, know your customer. You had to sign up for it. And in order to do that, you had to upload your driver's license. You had to put a drop of blood on your computer and hope that they know that your DNA to make sure. Yeah, like it was a thing. It was a lot of steps to go through to get it, and then some people got it, some people didn't. I've seen sales on this as much as $17,000 to $19,000 on the ultra rare one.
Let's talk about that. Let's explain to these people out there that might not know about ultra rares, how the VV thing works, because this was very interesting to me back when we first started talking about them. When VV first started, of course, the classic cover is going to be the common cover, as they call it now. Right. When they say common, basically that means this is the one that you're probably most people are gonna get. It's just like opening a pack of cards. It's random supposedly on how many there are available. The chances of you to pull an uncommon. I imagine they talk about it at some point. Here's the vintage variant uncommon, which has a really cool kind of color splash. There is a hero variant, which another color splash that they do, which we see this happen in regular stuff, but they use the different artist rendition.
Person. Yeah, that's a different artist.
Yeah, so that's very interesting. And then here is the vibranium variant, which is the ultra rare, which is very interesting. Now, this one, though, sounds to be the one to me that everybody...
Secret rare.
Yes, was talking about. And I think, Trey, you mentioned that this was an unused Ditko.
Yes, what I was told, it was an unused Ditko image from the family.
Which makes it even cooler to me. Like, cool. I'm cool with that.
Yeah. And if you look, like I said, so in a second, we're going to go over some other Vive stuff that I'm kind of got some spec on. And there's a couple other the secret rare covers, and you'll kind of see a trend on what the secret rare is comparatively to the others. So, yeah, it's and like Marcus said, there's been sales from 16 to 19,000, and I don't see it going down a lot, to be honest with you. I mean, can you name a Marvel comic that's their big number one? If you ask me, you could say Marvel one, you could say Captain America. I mean, there's a couple others that you could maybe.
No, I think this is it. I think that's undeniable.
This is their blue chip.
Yeah.
This and just for a second, Trey, if you'll allow me to peel the layers back, somebody paid $16,000 to $19,000 freaking dollars for a digital comic.
17 people did, from what it looks like.
Digital. Let's talk about digital. That where with VV, if you're in the app, you have this like area, like you have this spot where you can kind of
your library or something.
Yeah, your library or like your hall of whatever you have, with your digital stuff. Because again, I know I'm looking at where Hero says 16,000 rather buy a real book than an NFT. That's understandable. But what I'm here to tell you is that 10 years from now, that same $16,000 book, if somebody's going to buy that digitally for $1 million fucking dollars.
Here's the thing.
I'm telling you that.
Here's the thing about it, though. Our brain works like that. Like we want to hold the comic. I've talked to you guys about that. That's my hardest part of wrapping my head around the NFTs is being able to hold it. But here's the one thing that a lot of people don't understand about paper is there is a time limit on fucking paper.
Great.
There just is.
Point. That is a
there
great
just
point.
Fucking is. So even these slab copies and everything that we have with the archivals and all this other bullshit, it's still paper. It's going to disintegrate one day. That's just the way the organic materials fucking are. These digital books, they're not going to do that. So I've kind of changed. I haven't bought all the way in on all the NFTs, but these Vive Marvels, that they're the full book. You can 100% read them on the app, flip the pages, do the whole thing. But I don't think Marcus is wrong. I really do. I think that these make sense to me because they are a full book. You can go and read AF-15 right now when you own that.
And let's watch this and go back up, Bryan. Go back up. 250 people only have that secret rare.
Yep.
250 people in the world.
Right, but this is manufactured scarcity, right? I mean, at the end of the day, I'm an NFT guy too now, right? But when you look at what this is, and it being such an iconic book, I mean, this NFT didn't come out in 1962. There's history to the real book, and I think.
But we play in a world of manufactured rarity now.
Sure.
I mean, there's very
rarity now.
Yeah. But, and that's the thing that a lot of people can't get over. They can't get over that fact, right? With cryptocurrency, with sports cards, whatever, it's manufactured rarity. Whereas a 1952 Mantle is not manufactured rare. It's rare because it's from 1952. It was a high series card where they only made so many of them, and most kids put them in their tires of their bicycles.
Dude, one of the things I'm worried about, and I told Mark, I think I talked about that very first episode, is to Marvel to pull this license and then to do their own through Marvel at one point in time. What is stopping that from happening? Does anyone honestly know?
So from my understanding, when they when they did the deal, when Vivi got the deal with Marvel, because if you notice, I don't think any DC books are on here, but they have DC characters. They got DC statues.
The Batman stuff.
Yeah, Batman, Harley Quinn. They got a Superman that's on there.
Plus, VV probably had a framework of how to do this already, whereas Marvel probably was like, I don't know anything about blockchain.
You'd be surprised, guys, being in the music industry. Anytime that there's like any kind of technological advance or one of the big major companies is asked to do something, they are so freaking slow to adapt, even if you spoon feed it to them. So. There's probably somebody at Marvel who's trying to figure this out, who can't really wrap their heads around it, and this is just the easiest way to get in.
The easiest way to get in and capitalize on it quickly. So they probably did a partnership to where Marvel's getting their cut out of this. I mean, let's just be for real. Marvel's making money out of it.
Well, here's the reason that I do have faith in these though are the fucking. If you look at in here a second, there's some more of these secret rare. Perfect example. This is another Quesada. I believe a Quesada sketch of
X23.
That's one of the hey guys, these are the ones that I think you should buy right now. And hey guys, there are a bunch of people in the chat that are talking shit about NFTs. I don't necessarily agree with you, but if you think about this, Marvel had to pay licensing rights for these rare images, especially the Ditko and some other ones you'll see in a little bit, especially another Starlin image for the Iron Man 55. I mean, look at that. That's a secret rare. You could buy that right now for $160. And like we said, there's very few copies of these out there.
Trey, I think that's interesting what you're saying too. I think as long as these images are also not published, I think if this is the only way you can get it, this is huge, right? So
hey, no, this is an interesting one. This is the all new Marvel .1, the one that we've always talked about. Mm-hmm. This is a secret rare for $245. Now, there are so many of these that are underpriced in the Vive market right now, guys. I bought 3 of these last night. I bought the Gambit, I bought the Iron Man 55, and I bought the keep going. I'll tell you which.
Hold on, we got one more coming up. Yep. Hold on here. Let me find it. I apologize.
No, you're good.
While you're doing this, there's a Tales to Astonish 13 coming up next, I believe.
I didn't buy that one, but that's another undervalued one. That is
I have that one.
Star Wars.
Do you?
I got
Star Wars because that's another unused image. I don't know who drew it though.
Hoiberg and Cockrum. Hoiberg and Dave Cockrum, which is very interesting.
But that's the thing is Marvel, for them to digitally transfer some of these old books the way that they did and give them to Vive, money was spent. So these aren't half-assed. So that's the thing I have faith in. If you look at the quality and how nice it is to actually read the books that you buy, you would be impressed. These are not like an NFT. Don't think of these like a bored yacht ape. I mean, they're in the same family, but these are readable. These are usable. I mean, digital books.
Well, speaking of the Bored Ape stuff, there was also some really interesting Bored Ape news over this last week, right? I mean, let me pull this up. I've been hearing about these mutant apes for a little bit of time.
Yeah, Mutant Ape Yacht Club. Yep.
What is the deal with the mutant apes? Let us know what's going on and how these mutant apes came to be. Are they new? Are they old? Did they come out?
No. So with Bored Ape, you bought the Bored Ape, and then the Bored Ape took the serum and you would transform your Bored Ape to a mutant ape. What you got, Trey? What's that?
Sorry, it's that time of year. My deer pictures are coming in from my cameras.
I love it.
Bro, I've been watching YouTube videos from guys that are out putting corn in their feeders and everything right now. So
you ever want to come kill a deer? All you gotta do is get your ass to Oklahoma. I'll put you in the tree.
Oh.
Anybody, and that's for all three of you guys. If anybody ever wants to come hunt or wants to learn, all you gotta do is fucking make the drive, and I'll put you in a tree.
Yeah, man.
I love it. Yeah. So what happened was with these, like you had a Bored Ape, and then with the Bored Ape, you took a serum, and then the serum mutated your Bored Ape.
Genius.
And then you had a mutant ape, right? The mutant apes sell a little less than the Bored Apes, but look at this right here. This mega mutant ape just sold for $4 million. $4 million.
Yeah, and it was interesting with the Takashi Murakami did a drop, with his like Murakami flowers, but they started out as seeds. So a lot of the Artifact Clone X holders got these seeds, and then you have to go to some web page and then turn the seeds into the flower. A lot of people kind of saw something like this and they said, well, what if I hold on to the seed and I don't change it to a flower, right? So that's what was happening with the first airdrop. So people who had the flowers, they were saying, well, if you have the flower, we'll airdrop you a Lucky Cat bank. But they said, if you don't and you haven't converted your seed, then you're not going to get this airdrop. So that they were trying to incentivize people to not keep the seeds. But who knows?
So let me ask you, are the seeds worth more as a seed or as a flower?
I haven't looked.
Because
let's say this. So what Vinny is doing, or what some people do, is smart, right? So like for instance, a great example of one that I have, there's these NFTs called identities. They're super cheap right now. And if you don't sell it, if you choose to sell it, the identity, the NFT blows up. So and I'm gonna show you a picture to make it all make sense. So if you can see, it's this right here, not this one, the girl right here.
Yep.
No, it's kind of a weird kind of thing, but the girl. So if you look at the girl is the NFT regularly. But let's say if I go and try to sell it, then the girl blows up and she becomes a bum. And then the bum sells for like 2.02 NFT. So basically what they want to do is that if you keep it like this, then it's one thing. Whereas with the Murakami seed, if you hold on to it, then you can still go through the whole process of either, planting it, letting it grow, or, whatever the case may be. So some people will pay a premium for the seed because they want to have their own experience of planting the seed and letting it do what it do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Just to answer your question, Brian. So there is one seed only listed for sale, and it's 3.198 ETH. So it's a little bit. It's going for actually. They've listed it for essentially a little bit more than maybe 1.5 times the flower. Yeah, something like that.
That's interesting. That's very interesting. See, because the reason why I say this is interesting, you guys, is because a whole new way of utilizing these investments is being made, right? Some people look at it like Marcus said, they want their own experience out of it. They don't care about the investment. They want the experience. There's other people that are saying, hey, if I keep it as a seed, it's going to be more rare. It might be worth more that way. So, and these are things that the creators didn't really think of.
So just
that fact.
So just so you guys know, speaking on NFTs, if any of you all bought the Top Shots, I thought about it the same way, and I just never opened my packs. I never opened my Top Shot packs, but that also disqualified me from buying essentially any of the other, qualification drops that they had. But I still have all these unopened packs.
That's unbelievable.
What are the unopened packs going for?
I don't know, but I just kept it because I was like, who would have kept their unopened packs?
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a lot of people that got into this whole collecting thing, not just collecting NFTs. I'm talking collecting, period, with Top Shots. A lot of my friends who never collected cards, never got into comics, never got into any type of collecting, when we were kids, went ham on the Top Shot stuff.
And here's my thing. I want to encourage everybody that's that's kind of watching. I know a lot of people, it's a digital picture, oh, it's an NFT, it's a waste of money, it's this, it's that, it's this. We can sit here and talk about it right now, and you can tell me all the reasons on why you'll never buy an NFT. And I can sit here and tell you all the reasons why you should buy an NFT. But the reality of the situation is that as we're moving toward the future, this is where everything is going. So a lot of people are fighting a losing battle. So it's like, if you why not jump in this shit and just start to educate yourself on it? You know what I'm saying?
Especially when you have free mint stuff.
Right. This is one. I just did it. It actually will be free to the public tomorrow. This is one 24/7 Comix that is up there. I think Bryan will put it up there for people that want it.
I'll drop this link for everybody here. Yeah. This is
go ahead.
Very interesting stuff that we've been talking about lately, guys. The free to mint stuff is very interesting to me. Let's go ahead and play this video real quick for everybody, right, and show what the characters are, I guess you would say. And I like how they release these cartoons of the characters. It's very interesting. So there you guys go. Get in on it. If you're into this stuff, this is a way to get in on a free mint.
And let me say this: the guy that's over this is a Marvel artist, and if you go to his Twitter page, I think his name is Sean Chin. He does some pretty decent work. I think people that are jumping in this game right now, Sean Chin right here with the red 8. That's the one you want to go to.
But what in the fuck what virus in China are they talking about in the new shit?
It's a new one.
What are you new one?
It's Lang Yang or some shit. No, back up. That's not it. That's not him. That's
Those motherfuckers took Top Gun away from me for 2 years. They ain't getting any more of my fucking life.
No, absolutely not.
Fuck Chinese viruses. I'm done with them motherfuckers.
But the bigger there you go.
Look at that art. That's some pretty cool art, man. To be honest, look at that.
This is
that guy's name's a dungeon master. He's a BDM fucking.
Wow. Yeah. So this is like some of the when you go to it, you'll be basically writing some tell more of the story.
Yeah. Great art, great stories. 247 is where we're living the dream and welcome all who want in on it. Creator-led project where the art and story are championed above all with our creators' vision and support of our community. So this reminds me a little bit about somebody that Vinny introduced me to in San Diego, who is working on a similar project where he's doing a comic with a character, Little Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
We'll talk more about that in the future, but it's kind of interesting that we're getting a lot of involvement of the NFT stuff within the comic world. It could be very interesting in the future. I think a lot of people who are in comics now, a lot of this influx of people, they aren't reading comics. And we lost a lot of people who were reading comics. And this could bring back a lot of people that just want to read good stories, that like sequential art, that, that type of stuff.
Right.
I think so too.
There's so many people that I know quit. It's so weird, the timing, but I literally know 5 people from CBSI that quit reading comics altogether when Saga stopped being fucking written and produced about 4.5 whatever years ago. Like that was the one book that made them go into the stores. They enjoyed reading it that much. And when that book stopped, it went on its hiatus. It literally took out a bunch of people.
Yeah. It's, if people don't know about what it was like being a Wednesday warrior when Saga was coming out,
Yeah.
Like, it was crazy. You literally would go into your comic shop and your comic shop would, convince you to put every single image #1 in your box. It was bonkers. I've never that is not happening now. There's not a thing where every single image #1 is going in your box, because people don't care about it anymore. It kind of petered out. But Saga started that whole wave. I mean, you remember some of the comics that came out? Like, remember Spread? Remember that comic Spread? It was like,
that was great.
I remember fucking Spread. Oh, I could do 2 podcasts just on Spread. I promise you.
That's the type of stuff that I mean. Like, and nobody's talking about that book right now. That was a great fucking book.
It was a good book.
That was at a time when people were giving these books a chance because, you just had great shit out. You were giving it a chance to read and study and say, oh shit, well, man, what else does Image have coming out? It's like they hit a pocket and it just started coming out with great ass shit, like back to back to back.
What it was the fear of missing out from The Walking Dead. Let's be fucking honest. That's exactly what it was. Everybody.
But Saga continued that with such a great storyline.
It did.
Yeah. Let me ask you something, and to get into our what we really wanted to show on our thumbnail is the DC spec. A lot of people right now are talking DC in a different way than I think you should be. I think Trey is one of these guys that can look at it in a different way and talk about it in a different way. Nobody's talking about Spec and DC anymore.
This is what was crazy is after last week's show, I had 3 people from the old group ask me, literally go, can you talk about DC Spec or the state and the future of DC Spec in your opinion? And I said, I will. And here we are.
Yeah.
You just throw them up whatever order you want to, and I can go from there, Brian. So like I said, there's about 10 or 12 books that I feel are books that you should invest in DC properties right now. With everything going on, from the movie, the political climate, all the bullshit, the Warner Brothers stuff, everything that's currently going on, these are the ones that I feel that people should be looking for still, because everyone's down on DC right now, horribly down. Books are undervalued, as they should be, because they're putting out shit product. They're putting out shit movies, and they're putting out even shittier comic books. The comic books that they are putting out are fucking atrocious. And I'm a DC homer, but Marvel is putting out way better content than DC is right now. Way better.
One of the things, so I got this one here, Trey. Just let me know what to grab, and I'll grab the other ones as we're going through them.
Sure.
This is the first one I want to throw up.
This is a book. This is one of the ones that I think has a ton of potential. And we can argue about whatever the first appearance is. And I understand there's a lot of people that think it's the Future State #1. But this is the first, based on dates and everything else. This is the first image on the very back of it. It was Yara 4, another character, makes a ton of sense in my hand. Amazon descent. You know what I mean? Dark skin, all of it. That is a character that I 100% can see down the road them investing in the same way that Marvel invests in Miles. Personal opinion, I could be wrong. This is a 1 in a 100 variant with a Capullo cover. Can't really go wrong with that. I have faith in this character. And if you look at DC, there's 2 or 3 books every month that Yara is now in. She is going to be around for a while, and I could see them putting some weight behind her in the future.
Well, the interesting
when they're
thing
done telling the Diana story.
The interesting thing is that I think that, there's not very many places Marvel can or DC can go with Wonder Woman right now, right? Like, there's not very many places they can go with Superman right now. I mean, they got the Batman stuff going. It feels like in 2 universes. I don't know what's going to happen with that. But we literally had people asking in a recent show, like, can Wonder Woman continue? And I don't know if it can with Diana. With Yara, it's certainly
not after 1984. I mean, no. They pigeonholed the franchise a little bit, because the other thing is they pissed off the actors.
Yes. Yeah.
And then they pissed off the director because it was an HBO exclusive. So the chance of ever seeing Gadot back as Wonder Woman is about the same as seeing Cavill and everybody else back as Superman. So if they do decide to do anything, and if they're smart, they'll leave the property alone for a little bit, which they won't. You know what I mean? But Yara is going to be Wonder Woman on the big screen at some point in time in our lives. When that could be, I have no idea. But if you read the signs, there's a reason Warner Brothers and DC is invested and put as much money into this character in the last year and a half as they have, in my opinion.
Yes. All right. Next book that you want me to bring up.
Let's go with Batman 95.
Now, is this from the New 52 run? What do we got?
Yes.
All right. 1 second.
No, not the New 52.
The new run that to have Joker on the cover.
Hold on.
I apologize, you guys. This is my fault. I'm trying to bring up these books on the fly. It's kind of tough sometimes.
Yes.
Okay. So
it is the first appearance of Ghostmaker.
Is it this issue right here?
Yes.
Okay. First appearance of Ghostmaker. Let me find a better image of this too, you guys. Now
see, there's another. That's another one where, or is it 90? Hold on, I can't even read my own fucking handwriting.
Third series. We also have a. Here, let me just do this. This might be the.
No. Batman 95 is the first appearance of. Oh Jesus Christ! It's pretty bad. You can't read your own handwriting. The kid with the pink mohawk. The. Oh my God!
Clown
Hunter. Thank you.
Clown Hunter.
Which there's a lot of people that still think that he is going to be Red X from the Teen Titans. That is a lot of the speculation. I actually like the Ghostmaker character. He's currently in Batman Inc. with Ghostmaker, which is another character on this. That first appearance is Batman 100. He learned martial arts at the exact same time as Bruce, same teachers, everything. He went off to London and did some crime fighting, he's kind of an anti-hero, but when Bruce called him, he's come back and now he's in charge of Batman Inc. He's a badass too. But I really have faith in Clown Hunter and Ghostmaker in the future. But there's also a little bit of hesitancy because that was from the group, that was from the James Tynion run.
Which was garbage.
And Tynion created these characters and had big plans for him, which another one I plan on talking about, the Punchline. But
what do you think, real quick, what do you think about this book right here being the variant that you can pick up? It's one issue after.
I love the cover.
Yeah, it's a great cover. It's a great cover.
I love covers like that, like those singularity covers, you know what I mean? That show the character really good, show the design. I really like that.
I think DC did the design covers way better than Marvel has done them. There's been a couple of the Marvel ones that hit, but DC did such a great job with their quote unquote design variants, which look so beautiful. The colors, the different colors, the background colors, gives you spots to get autographs like this. They're really, really good. Really, really good.
But like I said, that where I was going with this next is the first appearance of Punchline, which is Batman 92?
89. I think it was 89. I think 92 was the first cover.
The cover.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one that's the one that I have the faith in.
Yeah, 89 was that it was like that. It was just like the bottom part of her face, right?
The one, the art germ cover, I believe.
Yeah, 92.
That's the one that
was like a full, our first cover.
That's the one that, in the same vein as that Ghostmaker 96. That's her first full cover appearance, and that one's moving a whole bunch of copies on eBay if you go back and look. And I think Punchline is going to be the Joker to Harley Quinn going forward, depending on however that relationship works out. Like those two are going to be. That's going to be Harley Quinn's nemesis in the future, from what I feel. And like I said, you can see that Hell Arisen book was another one. If you remember, there's a cameo of her in Hell Arisen. There's about 3 different cameos of Punchline. That's why I think that the Batman 89, Hell Arisen 3 are the 2 books that most people are arguing over, which is the first appearance. Right. That's why I like the 92 with the cover. It's her first, it showed that one right there.
Yeah, I agree. Also, there were multiple printings of Batman 89 and Hell Risen 3. I think there were 3 printings of each.
Yes.
But they're
100%.
definitely, if you look like in the current Dark Crisis and everything that's going on in the new Legion of Doom, she is front and center standing next to some of the major villains in the DC universe. So they 100% are going to continue doing things with Punchline.
Yeah.
Here we go. Same thing. The next book is Batman Adventures 12.
Yes.
Woo!
Yeah.
Jim Lee has said that Harley Quinn is the 4th pillar of the DC community behind Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman. And I don't disagree with her because no one moves the needle more other than Batman at DC right now than Harley Quinn. Last week, what was all the movie everyone was excited about because a certain person was cast and they think it's going to be as Harley Quinn? Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga last week was signed on to be the female antagonist with Joaquin Phoenix in the sequel to the Joker 2. It makes me want to fucking gag. But anytime that you can get Harley Quinn on the silver screen, played by someone like Lady Gaga, that brings attention to it, this book's never going to go down. Especially the more they turn her into an anti-hero. I mean, that's what, if you look, they've turned her more into a Batman Inc., Batman family person. Especially if you look at the trifold cover from Batman 100 that has all the Bat family, Harley Quinn standing on the fucking roof with everybody.
Yeah, she's not a villain anymore. That's for sure.
No, they've transitioned the same way they did with Deadpool. It's a lot easier for them to make money as her not killing people and, murdering kids with the Joker as it is helping. I totally understand why they do it.
Let me ask this. Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, are you ready for another version of that?
I've never watched the first Joker because I talked about it. Jared Leto's my fucking Joker.
Yeah.
Jared Leto's my Joker. That's my point. Jared Leto's my Joker, bro.
See, I didn't hate that movie, but I just don't think it was a Joker movie. I think what it was just a movie that Scorsese did.
You got it. You hit it on the head, Vinny.
Where somebody was like, hey, why don't you do Joker? And he's like, oh, I had a movie I was already working on. It can probably work if I just make that character the Joker. That's what I think happened.
Well, that wasn't even Scorsese, which is crazy. That was Todd Phillips.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I agree 100%. That movie was a crime movie about the guy who doesn't get any chicks, and that was the incel type character that is getting ready to have a mass shooting, right? And then I think somebody went, you could turn that into a Joker movie just by doing a couple little things and not having to change much else. And I think you're 110% right, Vinny.
Here's the thing about it, though. Vinny's from the Atlanta area. Marcus is from Houston. We could go to a club on Friday night and we could find 2 guys in each of those cities that you could literally compare to fucking Jared Leto with the face tattoos and the whole 9 yards acting the way he did. I for whatever reason, I found that character more believable in today's modern age than some of the other Jokers. And
well, they also cut 45 minutes of that movie, which was all Joker and Harley stuff that totally would have changed people's opinion on that character.
And can I say this too? Side note, and this is real, and correct me if I'm wrong. The Jared Leto Joker, his car is still one that's in Suicide Squad that everybody is still trying to find and or buy. Have you the one where they had the Rick Ross purple Lamborghini?
Oh, the purple Lamborghini with Skrillex. That was a fucking badass. That whole soundtrack was good. It had
everybody thought it was a purple Lamborghini, but it was actually like some sort of independent Vector, whatever it was called. There they are.
It had that badass Kalani, that gangster
Vador.
He did.
Vador. That's what it's called, a Vador. You can buy one of those right now, and it's basically on an Infinity G35. That's the base, Infinity G35. So you buy a G35, send it off, and you can do, there it is. It's a G35 modified by Miami's custom shop. Yep.
But do you remember how badass the end of Suicide Squad was when the Joker fucking broke into Belle Reve in Louisiana and fucking got Harley?
Man, wasn't that crazy? That was amazing. Yeah.
I just, the whole Snyderverse thing's sad to me because, I mean, if you saw the Justice League Snyder cut, the future scenes with Jared Leto and Batman, where it insinuates that Batman killed Harley Quinn. I mean, that tense scene between Affleck and Leto, where they're insinuating what happened in between the years gone by is fucking amazing, and that was just 2 years old. So
What
I
do you
just
think
hope that that's
about?
not
What do you think about this book right here? The Teen
Um,
Titans 12 Batman Who's Laughed first appearance.
I love it. I
feel like this is still so underrated as a book. This was a $900 book at one point, and now you can get them for, $150 or less.
I love that book because the Batman Who Laughs is going to be an incredible movie villain.
Oh, okay. This is the Comic-Con foil variant.
Yeah, that's something I was talking to Trey about the other day, though. There's so many first appearances every year, like so many. If you, as opposed to spending money, if you're one of those people like, trying to collect all the first appearances or find the ones that are going to hit that year, it's probably better to just wait till the end of the year and pick those 4 or 5 that stand out from that year. Because with all the thousands of first appearances that come out, there's only a few that are really going to make it from every year.
I got a couple more. I got a couple more for you, Brian, if we got time.
Let's have them. Yeah, let's have them.
Batman 655 variant.
Oh, yeah.
And this is a huge homer pick by me, obviously. Favorite comic book character. But there's a reason that Damian's in 7 of the comic books that's come out. And there's literally, and all the comics in the last 2 weeks, Damian's in 7 of them. They are 100% going forward and pushing Damian and John Kent and Yara and the younger generations at Warner Brothers right now. Whether we want to or not, this is the direction they're going. The new Justice League, you guys seen who the team is. Damian, whether you like him or not, he is not going anywhere, and he is going to be a big part going forward. I mean, look at the animated.
You know who you dropped a name a couple of shows back that I think is just as good as with the Damian play, and that's this, my friend.
Connor Hawke.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And if you're reading the Omega War and the Robin books, you're seeing exactly where Joshua Williamson has taken his character. He's going to replace his dad. I mean, all the fucking science. Like I said, there's so much free money in DC. Another one, The Peacemaker, #1 from 1988. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention. That book is moving daily and doing very, very well. That's the best fucking series that DC's put out in the last couple years since the 3rd season of Titans. I'm not a big Cena fan, but that was entertaining. That was good TV for HBO Max. 9/8 are going anywhere from 325 to 400 of this and selling very, very consistently. I think that the Peacemaker character is going to be someone we hear about. And then we talked about it in Unpressable. Like when you guys are going to these cons and you went to SDCC, did you guys see anybody as Peacemaker?
No.
Okay, well that tells me that maybe that character might not have a lot.
But here's the thing: I only spent like 3 hours on the floor, didn't look through any comics, so I can't give you a big answer on that. I spent too much time hanging out with hooligans and getting COVID.
You did. Another book that I think that has nothing to do but go up because it's DC's Deadpool, Omega Man 3, first appearance of Lobo.
Oh my God! Yeah, we got to get into this. Hold on.
Because if they can do that character justice, and I don't know who the right actor is, if they can do the character justice and make him cool and make him in that same vein as Deadpool and be true to that character, he's going to be, it has a huge chance to blow up.
Yeah.
Well, we all know that there is a gazillion copies of this. There just is. There's just so many copies of this book. But 9/8 still do pretty good, and they're still affordable.
There are some books that people are not. I don't think the people realize what they are, and I'm gonna show you guys what I'm talking about here. Let me find these images. I think that the Lobo character is the problem with this book is that the Lobo character that we know from this book is totally different than the Lobo character that is around now. And where we get the Lobo character that is around now are in these 2 books right here. A lot of people don't know about these books, but this is the Justice League International books where Guy Gardner and Lobo get into it. And this is where we start to see the Bastille Lobo, the Lobo that looks like this, right? This character. totally
Right.
different than that character in those Omega books, which he's in a couple of them. So I can't agree enough on a Lobo character or a Lobo play for the MCU.
They have to in the DC, like, yeah, they're gonna have to, because Deadpool is just killing. And just to be honest with you, at some point, DC is gonna have to pull out Lobo.
Yeah,
because he's that guy for them.
100%.
Yeah, it has to happen.
Yeah.
The last two that I have are both Green Lanterns. The first is Green Lantern number 20, New 52. The first appearance of Jessica Cruz.
Yep.
I love her.
There's a 1 in 100 variant. There's a digital combo pack variant. There's multiple variants. I'm a fan of the 1 in 100, and I'm a fan of the combo pack. I'm a fan of the combo pack ahead of the 1 in 100 because I honestly, God, think there's less of them. Personal opinion.
I agree with you.
They're doing a lot with this character. They've done a lot with her. She's had some mental issues. You know, she had an evil ring. Now she has a working power ring that's synced with the battery. But I still do not have as much faith in Jessica Cruz as I have in Kelly Quinella. I, honest to God, guys, think that Young Justice Volume 3, number 1 from 2020, that is a fucking monster book with a shit ton of first appearances. If you go and look at that book has the first appearance of Ginny Hex, Teen Lantern, a couple other different people. It's a Bendis book. But if you look about this Kelly Quinella character, she builds her power ring from a fucking junkyard. She finds a piece of it, and with her, she's literally the Riri of the DC, if you ask me. Same type of super sharp mind, figured it out on her own. She doesn't listen to the little fucking green guys on OA, whatever the fuck they're called. She don't give a fuck. I think that she's going to be, you know, there's that other Green Lantern chick too they had the one shot, the first appearance last year. She has like the Star Trek eye looking wear. She has a weird name too, but there's multiple different female Green Lanterns, but I really think Kelly Quinella is going to be the one that is going to be the popular one going forward.
Was that in Far Sector or was that something else?
Yes, it's the Far Sector book. That's the one I'm talking about.
Okay.
But there's a certain book on this Young Justice. It's a Putri variant. The artist Putri, who did it on that Young Justice Volume 1, and it has Kelly on the cover creating a construct. See if you can find it.
Why isn't it coming up? I'm clicking on it. Hold on, let's see here. Yasmin Putri, Young Justice.
It's the Putri variant, but it's an Unreal cover, and it has her on the cover, front and center, which I think that if she does, you can see right there that Yasmin Putri, you see her on the cover?
Right
in
there.
the top right?
Yep.
Yes. That's the one that has.
Beautiful cover.
Absolutely beautiful. That's her first appearance. She has some spice. I think that she's going to be somebody that kids are going to get behind. She's a really, really cool character. This is her first appearance, and this is the variant. This is the C cover that, in my opinion, has her a little bit more front and center than the other ones. And I think if she does become a popular character, that this is the book to have.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful right there.
That's awesome.
And also, I was wrong. I know for a fact that Ginny Hex's first appearance is in the Batman number 4 from the Walmart. Remember Walmart had the exclusive
100-page
comic?
giant. Yeah.
It's like a Batman book. So I was wrong. That is her first appearance was in that. So
yeah, it was kind of a hidden first appearance there because I think I
love that. The only way you could get it's at Walmart. You know what I mean? So if they ever do anything with Ginny Hex, do you remember what it was like trying to find a fucking nice copy at Walmart of those thick books? That's what I mean. So if that character ever hits, a 9.8 from those Walmart variants will be fucking nuclear.
Yeah. It's very interesting how some of those DC books, like you said, nobody's playing on them. A lot of these books people were talking about right out the gate, and people have kind of forgot about them with how bad DC's been.
If you heard the rumors after this week about Warner Brothers canceling the Batgirl shit, they've also canceled the Blue Beetle stuff, which I think was going to be lame anyway.
Green Lantern.
Yeah, the green.
That hurts.
they canceled a bunch of stuff that they needed to cancel until they get the right team that can create the cinematic effect that we deserve. Because they have, I mean, the stories that DC can tell are the exact same stories that Marvel's doing. Marvel's just doing a better job. And until DC gets the right person ahead of that, I mean, shit, there's still racist shit from the first Justice League casting from Ray Fisher. I mean, they're still trying to figure that out. Much less not worry about what the next movie is. So
yeah.
You don't hear anything about Jeff Johns anymore.
Justin Shannon says, I'm late joining. You may have already talked about it, but I think Justice League Dark could be big, just like Midnight Suns has done for Marvel. Yeah, I mean, that first Justice League Dark was great. I think we all agree. Or not Justice League Dark, but was it Justice League Dark, the first, the Capullo and Snyder? What was it, the first shit that they did? Dark Knight Metal. Maybe I'm thinking of Dark Knight Metal. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what happens with DC right now, man. They are in a world of hurt. And even, you know, we started hearing those rumors about Jim Lee way before we started hearing rumors about Warner Brothers and everything going on with Warner Brothers. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens in the next couple months. We're gonna keep an eye on that.
Here's what's crazy is we're talking shit on DC right now, and I came up with all these spec books. DC has one of the fucking hottest properties in the world as of today because of the Sandman. Have you guys been seeing the reviews that Sandman's been getting?
Unreal.
So, okay, do we actually start taking Sandman 1, Sandman 8? Do we start? I mean, you know, the female. I have not watched the series. I'm having surgery tomorrow morning. I plan on watching it this weekend. But I think everyone's probably heard the same rumors I am about the female Constantine. And people are raving about this character. DC's not smart enough to capitalize on it, though. They're just not. I mean, I guarantee you, we talked about it. Marvel did a really good job when they introduced Sylvie into Loki. I thought it was brilliant. Like, out of all the stuff the Marvel Cinematic Universe has done, I think one of the coolest things they did is create that original character out of the idea that came from the Marvel. Because the comic character is very completely different than the cinematic character. And I love that. And I think DC can do the same thing with someone like the Joanna Constantine character, but they'll fuck it up.
Yeah. I like the Corinthian character too. I think that's a great character. I still think that even the prices we're seeing now are criminally low on Sandman stuff. Sandman should be at least 2 times the value of what we're seeing now, if not more. On all the major keys, on 8, 1 through 10 are some of the greatest books in all of comics. They have the Sandman run has some of the rarest books in all of comics with that Berger variant that
editorial
you can
variant.
Yeah,
I've never found one.
Never seen one ever. And I'm looking. You've got to be looking at signed versions of it.
Dude, you know another book that I had no idea about until yesterday? I had no idea that there was I knew about all the different the McFarlane Spider-Man 1 variants. Did you know anything about the Blue Lizard?
Yes.
I had no idea. That's the kind of shit I live for. And I found out, and it's brand new as of yesterday.
I just found out about it last year because I went to a store and they had they had that silver Spidey 1 and they were like, oh, Blue Lizard variant. I was like, what are you talking about? And so the guy opened it up and he showed it to me and I was like, now I'm like a dumbass looking through every box where I find one of those books. I'm opening them up looking for like the blue.
But it's a $500 bill if you find it in any condition.
Yeah.
That's what's crazy. I mean, if you find it and happen to get it into a high grade. But that's the thing is there is plenty of money on the ground with DC Spec, guys. You just got to think about where they're going to go with it. Not necessarily short term. I don't think DC anything short term right now is smart. But if you think about where they're going to have to go, because they failed with the characters that we all grew up and loved with. Let's just be honest. They've tried it multiple different iterations and they failed. So are they going to try something new? I don't know if they're that adventurous or smart, but if they do, there's a lot of money laying on the ground in DC for very, very cheap compared to fucking Marvel Spec right now. And we just talked about it. We're recycling old shitty Marvel Spec just to buy books right now. It's like the Hood stuff. That's not a $500 book. We all know it's not a $500 book. Even if the characters in fucking WandaVision or whatever that shitty Hagatha show, no one gives a shit. I'm being honest. If he's in 2 episodes of that, are you going to be excited and go get a book? No, it's a shit character.
Trey, you stop talking about Hagatha. She was fine to me. Hagatha was fine.
Amen, brother.
Hagatha was fine.
Yeah, hell yeah.
If I can't finish the last 3 episodes of Miss Marvel and I was excited about that, there's fucking zero chance I'm going to make it through Agatha or Hagatha or whatever the fuck her name is. Because where are they going to pull this source material from?
They're going to create it.
They're going to create it.
They're just going to. The whole reason we're going to watch that show is from that Sydney Sweeney, and they're not even going to show what the whole reason we're going to watch it for. So let's all be fucking honest. It's the truth. Sometimes the truth hurts.
We got 65 watching right now, ladies and gentlemen. We need to give away a giveaway. We had
we need addresses.
Yes,
addresses from last week.
So I've got addresses to send you, Trey. Here's our winners from last week. We had Solo Wookie win. We had Patrick M win. We had Nate 138th win and AOA. I'm going to send Trey the addresses that I got from those guys. If you guys didn't send me an address, which I think most of you did, but I'm just going to put it out. If you guys didn't send me your address, make sure you do so I can send them over to Trey. We've got a lot of interesting giveaways.
If you didn't send him an address, I'm going to send mine. Send the shit to me. They don't want it. I want it. You know what I'm saying? No. Send it to me. Shit. I want to win something. Shit. Go ahead. Carry on. What we got?
Dude, hey, we got to talk about Marcus. We got to talk about your fucking Super Nintendo.
Oh, it's coming. It's coming.
Hey, Vinny found, at the end of last week's episode, when Marcus unveiled his Super Nintendo, Vinny was nice enough to explain, even though it was opened, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's the end of it being an expensive item.
Yes.
And what did you say? You found one that sold for $18,000?
It was like 10,200, something like that. Yep.
And it was qualified. The exact same thing Marcus has.
Yep.
The exact same thing I got right now.
It was
all he has to do is send it in and go through the process potentially.
Yep. We're going to send it in and we're going to see what it comes back as. And we're going to show y'all every step of the way what it's going to look like. I'm excited about this. This is going to be great.
You know what else is exciting? Is that some web domains were purchased Sunday. I wonder what those were purchased for.
Oh, nice.
Listen, we over here making moves, y'all. I just want to let y'all know that these the people that are watching right now, there's some real shit that's getting ready to pop off probably within the next, I want to say 60 to 90 days. So stay tuned. Tell a friend to tell a friend. We're going to do all kind of shit. The shit you're about to see, y'all are at the ground level of some shit that's going to be life-changing. So stick around, man. Make sure you're tuned in. Make sure you're watching every episode. Make sure you're telling people to watch episodes. Vinny is going to start doing shit. Trey is already killing shit. Bryan is already doing shit. And I'm going to start stripping for the camera for y'all. It's going to be amazing. I'm going to start doing my thing. It's
OnlyFans link below.
OnlyFans, baby. I'm out here with it, baby. If it's $1,
Bryan, did you see what Tony Fix said? Did you see what book he mentioned?
Uh-huh. Oh yeah,
dude, Tony. I don't know if you know the story of that book. I swear to God, I actually brought that book to attention, and the homie Ben S was at Mile High Comics. Ben Stein, friend of Bryan's, everybody's, was at Mile High in Denver and found one and sent it to me for absolutely nothing. And what was crazy is that after that, and kind of one of those books that CBSI did that brought to light, that book blew the fuck up.
Yep.
And it's one of my favorite. It's one of those books I'll never sell.
Yep. I got a 9.6 that I'll never sell.
You got a 9.6?
Yeah.
Is there a 9.8 in the census?
I think Stein ended up finding another one that I think he got a 9.8 out of. Yeah.
Good for him. He's a solid dude.
Yeah. All right, you guys. So here's the giveaways for today. Another solid dude is our good friend Drew at Wanted Comics. And Drew has been putting out some pretty amazing covers over the last year. 2 of them that we're going to give away here that are signed copies. One being this gorgeous signed J.G. Jones Primordial #1, signed by J.G. Jones,
nice.
One of the most iconic comic artists of all time. This is a great series. If you guys haven't read it, if you're a Cold War space person, this is the series you want to read. Check it out. Gorgeous painted cover. This was a Grail type thing. This was a Drew getting J.G. Jones to do a cover for him was, one of his things that he just couldn't pass up. So it's great that it came out this gorgeous. And then second, another guy that through CBSI and the craziness that happened back then, Dave Wilkins. Dave Wilkins probably created the best He-Man and Masters of the Universe cover you will ever see in that Skeletor variant. So Drew decided, you know what? We got to get Dave Wilkins to do Masters of the Universe Revelations. Now, I know everybody's talking shit about Revelations because of the Kevin Smith stuff, rightfully so, but you're getting a Dave Wilkins He-Man variant signed by Dave himself. So both of these books will be going to the winner tonight that we are going to pick out of the live the live feed. So make sure you guys continue to post in the live feed. StreamYard has been nice enough to give us this new giveaway tool that I'm bringing up right now. And
Kevin Smith rules, except when it comes to fucking He-Man, brother.
Amen. He fucked that shit up.
It was that pile of shit he dropped on us pissed me off. Like I text people upset, like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, no doubt. And man, he's continuing to make mistakes about that shit, man. He doesn't know how to say something right about when it comes to He-Man.
I know He-Man. Yo, I was in Walmart the other day.
I'm gonna bring that up. I got pictures.
Okay, well, I'll wait. Go ahead.
No. Go. Talk about it because I'm gonna bring it. I'm grabbing it while you're talking about it.
Yo, I was in
Vinny.
Walmart.
Sorry, we gotta make sure. I gotta make sure Vinny's getting that face like he's got to get the kids in fucking school.
Well, we got market report coming up.
I'm starting to get mad. You can see the anger in his eyes. Like we're going.
No. I'm good today. My parents.
I just want to make sure. Sorry, Marcus.
He getting ready to turn green and shit. Incredible.
We're good.
Incredible Volk. Look, so I was in Walmart. Text these guys the other day. Walmart has deals going on right now for toys, at least with the Walmart that I was at. It blew my mind. I must have hit Vinny like at midnight his time. You know what I'm saying? In Walmart, they had the collectibles. They were selling like normally $40 toys for like $15. I got two Panthers, the little fuzzy Panther, whatever, $15 a piece. $15 a piece. When I went online and looked at it, it was selling for like 60, 70, $80. That's lunch money, fellas. Like all you got to do is just go and look. Hit the Walmart. Don't be afraid to hit that Walmart, hit that little toy section, see where they got shit going on. I'm sure they fucked this up. They had to have fucked up this Panther that I just stole from them for $15.
Dude, we haven't got into that vein yet, but that's one of my things I do every week. I go into 4 or 5 Targets, 4 or 5 Walmarts. I hit the vinyl sections. I hit the Funko sections. I hit the toy sections, and then I go to the trading cards. I mean, there's a loop that you can make, and you're exactly right. There are there's some Chase toys and some hard to find McFarlane figures and things like that are just sitting on the shelves that like you said, that'll make you $25, $30. I mean, it ain't gonna make you rich, but it'll pay for fucking lunch for 2 days. And with everything going on right now, I could use all the $25, $30 I can get.
Trey, did you see the manga spawn at Target?
I do. I got the autograph one.
Nice. From Target?
Yeah, just so you don't think it's cap.
So look, this right here, this is the Battle Cat. So I got Panther and I got Battle Cat. Battle Cat I got right there for $17. It says $39 right there, but when I went up to the front, I got that. That's the one. I got that joint for $15. Well, $17. Okay, I'm sorry. $17. $17. Right there.
But what's nice is I got it on a price there. It's $79.99 retail. And when it first came out, they fucked up and put it for $19.99. So I got the whole thing for $19.99.
Wow.
Signed McFarlane limited edition figure. That's one of those ones. You're not going to lose money on anything Todd signed, in my personal opinion. There's also a badass New York Comic Con Todd McFarlane figure that he signed that's limited to 100. that people don't know about. It's basically they use the image from his, was it 557, the famous McFarlane cover, the red one, where he looks like a vampire holding the blonde. 457?
For which, what is it for?
The McFarlane Batman cover, the famous, the old one from like 87.
Oh yeah.
It's not 457. It's
427. It's here it is right here.
I'm just intoxicated enough. It's amazing I've gotten this far.
423.
423. What he did is he made the figure with that crazy long cape, and he made an NYCC Target exclusive variant. 100 of them or 250 of them were signed, and 1,000 of them weren't. The Target sent all of them and with no protection, so none of them are in decent shape at all. And multiple people bought them. You can pick them up for $65, $70 right now on eBay. It's a fucking limited edition signed Todd McFarlane figure. It's a badass figure too if you look at it, because it's a super long figure.
Cape. Yeah.
See if I'll send you an image real quick.
Okay. I got it. Hold on here.
Fucking Jamie over here is getting fucking faster and faster.
Yeah. Here's the toy. Right here. Gorgeous.
I bought 2 of these in the last month to hold on to because they just keep going below 100, and I can't stop from buying that one right there.
Yeah.
Nice.
There is a sign, and what's crazy is that it's literally like a business card that Todd signed that's in there.
Crazy.
Beautiful.
But see how cool the cape is and how it extends out and everything? I mean, it's a fucking amazing figure. I love the colors, the whole 9 yards. And be careful, though. Some of them are signed. Some of them aren't.
Interested. Very interesting. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have one more segment to get into tonight, and that is the market report for August 10th, 2022. We're going to start off this week with some interesting sales from a heritage video game auction. If you guys haven't seen Vinny's Black Box Nintendo segment from last week, I'll be dropping that clip probably later on tonight. So make sure you guys check out the clip section on the YouTube page. He did an amazing job talking about that stuff, but just so happened that a bunch of books or a bunch of video games came up for auction at Heritage this week, and we're going to get into it for you guys. Let's do it. What do we got
here?
You
didn't see Vinny dropped his fucking nuts on everyone's chin last week when it comes to video games.
So there's a mid-production Legend of Zelda 9.6 that went off for $384,000. I mean, this is not the first one to hit crazy numbers. But keep in mind, this is a mid-production that's now hitting almost $500,000. So that's
what is the first production?
I mean, it's $1 million. $1 million.
That's great, guys. Y'all's grandma fucked y'all over one Christmas ago, and that shit is sitting in her attic somewhere right fucking now. There is $1 million. I guarantee it. There are 2 or 3 people right now that grandmas or stepmoms or somebody that they pissed off has that shit sitting in an attic somewhere, still wrapped up.
Yep. And Brian, actually, that was a second print Zelda that went off for almost $1 million. So I don't even know what a first print would do.
Jesus. Unreal. I love the Jordan versus Bird though. Yeah,
Jordan versus Bird. I'm so mad, guys. There was a PC copy of this on eBay, and it was like $300. I made the offer. I got it, and then I don't know what happened, but the guy I took like 2 days to pay. I still had time, but then he just canceled it on me, and then somebody else got it. But anyways, this one went for almost $14,000. This is a NES version of it. I thought this next one is interesting. Bonk's Adventure. So, of course, it came out first for the TurboGrafx 16, but this is a port for the NES that came later.
Oh, shit.
That actually went for over $20,000. I mean, and I think it's really just because of the rarity of this game.
That's cool.
Yeah. If anybody is interested, this game actually also first came out in Japan as a game called PC Genjin for the TurboGrafx 16. This Contra 9.6 B+ seal went for $15,000. Now, I was having a discussion with some people, and I'm wondering what you guys think about this, coming from comics. Would you rather have a higher grade, like a 9.6 or 9.8, with a lower seal grade, or a lower graded game with a higher seal grade? Just
what do you mean by higher seal grade? How could it be a lower graded game with a higher seal grade?
Because they basically, I think they grade everything else, and then the seal has its own grade aside.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
They're grading like the quality of the box, etc., and then the seal gets its own grade. So, what I
want it to look pretty.
You want it to look pretty, yeah.
I want it to look pretty because I'm putting that fucker on the wall in a frame. I want people to see that shit.
I want whatever the two that's rarest, to be honest with you. Like whatever the census has less of, that's what my brain inclines to want to collect towards.
Because there was a discussion this week about it, and some people were saying, "Oh, I'd rather have." Most people actually in the video game community were saying they would rather have a lower graded game with a higher seal quality than the opposite. But a few people chimed in. They were like, "No, I'd rather have a higher." Higher
15
grade.
grand still is crazy to see a Contra going for 15 grand, man.
Crazy.
This fucking auction gave me indigestion.
I know why too.
Donkey Kong Country went for 26,400. That's a early production. This one I thought was cool. This was the Rob the Robot that we were showing last week, but this is the Famicom version that came out in Japan.
OG.
$5,000, which I thought was really cool.
I feel like that's kind of low, right? It feels low.
It is, but like I told you guys before, I think Japanese is still catching up. A lot of people don't even know that this stuff originated out there. So
that Wolverine is crazy.
Yes. What do you guys think about that? This Wolverine game went for $48,000. Do you think it's because of the image? Is this probably comic people coming in?
Jim Lee.
Is that Jim?
It's got to be. It looks just like Jim Lee image. Yeah, chat. Let us know if you know if that's Jim Lee image, because that looks Jim Lee-esque, and man, that is got to be comic stuff, right?
Now, keep in mind also this was a 10, which is really almost impossible to get.
That was such a shit game too. I mean, that was such a shit game. You know, it wasn't a shit game.
What's that?
Mario 2.
Yeah,
that's right.
I know. Bryan does. I know that's Bryan said it's not his least favorite because I guess it was I guess you talked about it. It was ported over from
a different game.
A game called Doki Doki Panic from Japan. That's right.
Look at this fucking guy. He said Doki Doki Panic like it was like just Doki Doki just rolled off the tongue.
He's probably got one too.
Absolutely, he does.
He does.
This is a first production. Keep in mind the rules that I gave you guys last week don't necessarily apply to some of the other non-black box games, but I'll go into those specific variants later on. So this is a Circle Seal Rev A first production Super Mario Brothers 2 that went for almost 80 grand. So I mean, these numbers are crazy. Pokemon Red sealed Rattata, which is the early production, went for 45,600. I think we actually have it doubled up.
Yeah.
But Pokemon Red always goes crazy. I think next week I'm going to go through the first, second, and third print variants on Pokemon Red, just so.
Dude, hey, I was going to ask you, like, there was a Pokemon Game Boy game that came up today that was from Japanese. Like, I can't even fucking talk right now. That was from Japan. That was a WADA 9.8. That was, I would tell you, it was like $350. And I almost, what sucks is when Vinny's the guru, you almost are afraid that you're texting him too much. Like, hey, should I buy this? And he's just like, no, dumbass, don't buy. He literally, last week, like last Friday, I would forget what it was, but I was literally made an offer on something, and I get a call immediately. It was like 11. But he's like, bro, dude, that doesn't have a UPC code or a tag on the back. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? He's like, look at photo 3. I was like, he's like, you don't want that. And so I end up getting,
It makes you think, does he saying you don't want that because he's bidding on it? Or
no, he's not. I know Vinny ain't like that. You can hear the panic in his voice. He's like, no, you fucked up.
Yeah.
But he's so good at it. I'm almost afraid to ask him because you don't want to fucking waste his time. You're like,
No, I mean, and here's the thing, guys. Like, the reason I'm doing this is because I don't claim to know everything about this, and I'm still learning every day. And some of the stuff I tell you might actually change. I mean, that's a fact because video games are so new that people keep learning, and they keep learning about new variants. And listen, if WADA knew what everything, the first print and second, third print was, they would put it on the label, but they don't. So they put all this nonsense all over the label, so you have to decipher it yourself. But with that being said, you know, we keep learning, and therefore, like, we're gonna get to know a lot more about video games, a lot of the popular titles, and you guys are gonna know what to look for when you go out to the stores and to the yard sales and things like that. And I will tell you, from being in a lot of these stores, these guys do not know the variants. They do not have the variant knowledge. They're selling sealed games, they're selling used games, but they really don't know what they have 99% of the time. So,
you guys tell Doc Joe to stop texting me. Joe, I'll text you after the show. Stop.
He wants that AF-15, bro.
He does. He wants all my shit. I never kept telling you every week.
He wants Marcus's sealed Nintendo now.
Yeah. So here's that seal, or actually, this was a qualified, so it was an opened console, but with new contents inside, unused contents that went for 10 grand. I thought of you, Marcus, when I saw this the other day. I was like, oh man. So your box though was probably not this, you know, the box that you have on your game, I mean on your console was probably not as nice, but still having anything that's unused, I think, is a big deal. So we
shut your disrespectful ass up. I'm gonna send this off and we're gonna get paid. This is money that we're gonna make. Don't speak negatively. We're gonna get this money. Qualified Super Nintendo. Everything in the shit is still in the bag, bro. I just opened it to make sure the shit was in there, bro.
Let's do it. I can't wait for it to come back. You.
I know, right?
Hey,
it's gonna be like an old Sega Genesis that someone just threw in a box, and Marcus is gonna be mad as shit.
It's an old Super Famicom, like right in that motherfucker.
Super Mario World was one of the greatest games ever put out. So was Yoshi's Island. Yeah. That's why that NES is such a great system. 80 grand for that Super Mario World. Wow.
Yep.
What print? Is that a special print, or is that just a fucking run of the mill? You picked it up first week it came out.
Regular game.
It's regular. I had this shit.
By the way, guys,
you know what's funny is we always talk about like what we'd do if we have a time machine. Like every time I see this show, I rechange what the fuck I would do. All you'd have to do is go to fucking Japan and buy some first edition Zeldas and put them in a storage shed and leave a note to your fucking relatives and be like, "Hey, dumbasses, don't fuck this up."
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, the last game we were looking at, it said made in Japan. So keep in mind, a lot of the early editions of these games say made in Japan, even though they were, you know, produced for America. So a lot of times when you see that, it means it was made in Japan, but it was a first production here in the United States. The Sonic the Hedgehog, this was cool. This was a NTSC prototype. So they would literally send out these little chips like this to magazine editors and people like that to review the game. So this was a Sonic the Hedgehog 1 for the Sega Master System that was sent to an editor. I can't remember for which magazine, but sold for 12 grand. I was silly to think I could even play in this particular auction. I think I bid up to 1,000, and it was way out of my hands.
That Super Smash Bros is such a big game for the younger generation. I'm not surprised it went for that much.
Yeah.
Uniform 13, bro. Have a Snickers.
This was a monster. Super Smash Brothers. I think this is new too. I think people didn't necessarily think this was going to go this high, but you're right, Brian. New generation. So I think this is just going to keep going higher and higher.
Okay, I actually have a relative story from today. I re-enrolled back in school to take a few classes to work on my MBA. And as I was sitting in the lobby, they had like a big 70-inch TV that like was going over like the school announcements. On the opening day of school, they're having a $3,000 Super Smash Brothers tournament at the fucking auditorium. And it's just like you said, I mean, how many years later is it? And this game is still relevant and people playing it and playing it for good money. I had no idea.
More than 20 years. Came out in 1999.
Yep. I had no clue.
This next one's interesting. So it's a Game Boy Color tabletop kiosk that was done in conjunction with Tommy Hilfiger. So this is something that you would probably see in like a Macy's or one of those department stores in the Hilfiger section, a kiosk that people could just play the Game Boy Color on. It was just kind of a limited edition kiosk, not really for consumers, but more so for the stores. And it went for almost $6,000. What's interesting is a lot of these kiosks and things like that you see in the like GameStops and Best Buys, they go for really good money. So I don't know if you all are ever able to get your hands on some of that stuff, or if they're just throwing that stuff away, you should grab it, because I've seen this stuff go for $10,000 and $20,000. I mean, it goes for a lot.
I used to have a guy that worked at Toys R Us. Don't do that. I used to have a guy that worked at Toys R Us. They used to sell me the Lego displays. And those Lego displays went for big, big money until Lego started cracking down on it. And like, you couldn't even sell them joints on eBay without, the FBI knocking on your door. Because they
sounds like a Black Flag comic.
FBI knock on FBI just fucking around now.
Yeah,
they might come in your house.
Oh yeah, they coming in, baby. Yeah, they were coming to get me.
Mark is gonna go up to the attic and bring down a Lego kiosk.
Absolutely,
he's got like a Death Star put together, but with super glue and shit.
Absolutely,
two
Boba
Fett prototypes.
Yeah,
hanging out.
I got them.
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. Hey, I spent a lot of time playing Game Boy. Game Boy had a Zelda game that I put up there right behind Link to the Past, and that the Game Boy game on there was so good and so much fun. I must have played that thing like 3 times a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Great game.
It's awesome. Yeah. So this is a new Game Boy, went for almost 10,000.
Nice. All right, next we've got some interesting stuff here.
So we've got so they started, Heritage did something random. I guess the programmer or developer of Night Trap. You guys remember that game for the Sega CD?
Night Trap. Yeah, I remember that shit.
So they started like in the middle of this signature auction, they randomly started doing these NFTs, and everybody's like, what is happening right now? And people were kind of joking about it. And then I saw like some of the guys who were like completely against NFTs were like, just on the sly started, bidding on these things. So
fucking A.
This shower scene, a kind of iconic scene from the game, went for almost $900. I thought that was interesting. And a lot of these NFTs, they all sold. So who knows what they'll do on the secondary market.
Shit, that looks like a Zenoscope. Somebody from Zenoscope bought that shit. They're gonna have that one. They'll have a fucking variant of that by the end of next week.
No, I bought that one, baby. Hold on now. She's just negligee. That's all right.
This Sonic the Hedgehog, this is an early production. It came back down to earth. I think it went for almost 400,000 a few months ago. Another copy of it. This is more at 100,000. I think that's probably where it should be right now, but I think this has a lot of room to grow. We'll get into some variant knowledge on this a little bit later on down the line, but just to let you know, when you look down in that black border on the second picture, in the black border, if it's anything other than a first print, you're going to see some legal language in there. So there's no legal language in there, so it's a early print. Well, like first or second print, probably.
Dude, that was a weird rabbit hole. AOA just put rest in peace Dana Plato, who must have been the actress. And I just Googled her, and she died from an overdose in a town next to where I live right now when she was 34 years of old. I had no idea.
Remember her? She's from Different Strokes. She was the daughter on Different Strokes.
Yeah, that was just complete randomness.
Nah, man, because she's in the game. She's in the Night Trap game.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So that's why they said that. Rest in peace, Dana Plato. Dana Plato.
Resident Evil, you guys.
Yep. Resident Evil
game. Bill Sienkiewicz cover.
Yep. Another one went off. Ridged long box. So I'll go into these variations later on, but this is the first production of this game. Went for 192,000. Metal Gear Solid 9.88++ for 6,300. I feel that's still kind of low for that game.
I would buy that up right now.
Pretty iconic. Grand Theft Auto 8 9.6 8 plus went for 6,600. Now there's a lot of variations on this. This one on the back has an M rating. It says there was a run of these games that was a misprint that had the teen rating on the back. So keep in mind, if you're ever looking at these Grand Theft Autos, you might find a teen, which came earlier than the M. There was also Night Trap. I thought this was interesting. Going back to that game, there was a game development binder that just had like, a bunch of the production notes and the script and all those
cool.
types of things. Yeah, I thought that was cool. It sold for 6,600.
Here you go, Trey.
Poor Trey. I told Trey to go for this Fortnite because I thought he could get it for under $3,000, but I was sorely mistaken.
I had this motherfucker bought. You go back and watch the video. This Super Mario auctioneer motherfucker stopped the auction at $3,200, which was the high bid. Looked over to his left and went like this. And he goes, "We're going to take another bid," and went to $3,600. I was fucking livid. And then you see what it jumped up to was $6,000. I had it literally sold at $3,200. I'll never forget that little Super Mario looking guy.
That's bullshit, man.
I was pissed.
I would contact them and be like, "What the fuck?"
And if you'd have seen the amount of shit I had to do to get my fucking Heritage account working again.
Yep.
Fuck.
That shit would have happened to me, and I guarantee you, it would have been some damn smoke in the city. It would have been some furniture moving around that motherfucker. If you tell me I got it for $3,200, and then you turn your head, scratch your ass, and say, "Come on, we're gonna do another bid," I'm on the way.
I'd be like Adam Sandler at the end of that movie. Showed up at the dude's house, still holding the phone.
You guys know me. All I need is a fucking excuse, but I'm trying to be a better person. But I think Vinny's right. Fortnite is one of those games that changed. I mean, the way that you remember what Instagram was like for a year? All it was for every male college student, all it was videos of them doing Fortnite, playing Fortnite, et cetera, et cetera. This is one of those games when those kids finally get disposable income, they're going to want to get. And Vinny talked about it. There's not that many. It was more digital download than anything. If you guys remember that, and what was the other game that was popular at the time? Was it Warhammer? No, not Warhammer.
No, it was
a first-person shooter. You guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it was like Fortnite.
It was like Fortnite. It was a first-person shooter, but most of the time it was downloaded digitally through the Xbox Live or whatever. Yeah. So there wasn't that many hard copies like this. And I agree. I think that's a blue chip game.
Here's what I'm going to say. You can't lose right now if you see that anywhere and it's $10,000. I would still buy it right now today. This is going to be the equivalent of an AF-15 15 years from now in video game world. Fortnite, the actual cartridge, the actual CD.
Yeah, the physical version.
The physical version, like it's printing money.
Do we want the Fortnite? Do we want the Xbox or the PlayStation version in a perfect world, Vinny? Do you have any idea what the print runs were on either?
I mean, there's a slight preference in among video game collectors for the PS4, but I don't think it makes any difference. They both dropped same time. I think it's just personal preference.
And I would also look at to Vinny's point, there's a PS4 version of Fortnite where the system is actually, Fortnite covered and it came with the game and all that shit as well, I think. So that might be something to look at, either PS4
PUBG.
or Xbox. Yeah.
PUBG, that's right. Nice job.
PUBG. Yeah.
PUBG, yeah, you're right. Twisted Metal, Ridge Longbox went for 60,000. Loved that game. That game was incredible.
Oh yeah.
I remember this. It was terrible. I used to go to my my best friend, actually, he went to college like right down the street from me. And so we used to go over there and we used to play Tekken and we used to play Twisted Metal and we used to talk shit to each other and we would just say the most ridiculous things. We had props. It was just a whole thing. This was like, so I remember
the only different that I had, because you sounded just like my story, but my story had a lot of cannabis involved. So
So I remember going back and I was playing my roommate, playing Twisted Metal with my roommate, but I'm coming from this whole super hyper aggressive environment where we're just, we're fighting each other. If we beat each other, we're just completely talking trash. So I did that like a few times in a row, and this guy just turns around and he's like, man, I don't want to play with you anymore. I was like, damn, I was just in the moment, you know, I wasn't even thinking about it. But
dude, the world's so soft. Did you guys happen to see the fucking Little League World Series bullshit?
Oh no, God, I don't even want to know.
Where the
ball at the boy head and something, and then
the Texas kid hit the Oklahoma kid in the head. The Texas pitcher started crying that the Oklahoma kid had to go over and console the pitcher for the game to go on. I talked about this earlier today. Do you know what would have happened if I would have got hit in the head on national television? There would have been 4 dads throwing punches at the Texas dads before I hit the ground, and my teammate would have had, that pitcher wouldn't have had any time to cry because we'd have chased that motherfucker over the fence. They stopped the game to let this kid cry, and the guy had to come and console him. What the fuck is going on? He got hit in the head. They were losing and had to go out and console the winning team after getting hit in the head in the fucking face.
I told we seen that at the
restaurant. What is going on?
We seen that at the restaurant, and I told the guy, I know the Oklahoma kid whispered in the Texas kid ear, I'm gonna beat your ass when this.
That's right. What should have happened?
Get ready.
Fuck.
I'm coming to get you.
Unbelievable. Like it's you know what? And then we talked about it at lunch. Do you know what makes a good childhood? Is a dad who makes bad decisions on occasion.
Amen.
And you know what's great is I had one of those dads.
Yeah.
I had one of those dads who took me to Terminator 2 when he shouldn't have. I had the dad who let me have a sip of beer when I was 10. My dad would get in fights in the stands. But you know what? That's what made my childhood amazing.
My dad, real quick, my dad was the coach of all of our sports teams, right?
Wow.
Him and my best friend's dad were the coach of all our sports teams. One year in Little League, another family that lived a couple neighborhoods down that we were friends with, they were coaching their own team and their own kids like that. Every time we played them, we would plunk the family, right? So it was every time. They threw us out of a game for doing it. We all lined up on the third base side and mooned everybody. Got kicked out of Little League for it. Our dads told us to do that shit.
Chad, who was you're defending? Who was scared? The kid that got hit in the fucking face by the baseball? Because he wasn't scared. The kid who hit the kid in the face with the baseball was crying. You know what my dad would have said? I'll give you something to fucking cry about, and he'd have whooped my ass in the car.
Yeah,
absolutely.
For crying on national television.
Man, look, here's my thing, bro. Anytime, you know, these kids, we come from a different generation, y'all. We come from, I read something somewhere that our age, the people that are here, let me tell you something. We came from drinking water out of a garden hose. We came from being outside from early in the morning till you better be home before the street lights come on. We came from you fell down, you scrape your knee, don't bring your ass in the house and put a Band-Aid on. Hey, you better sit out there, let that shit dry up and come see me when it's time to eat dinner. But man, I'm telling you, these younger kids are soft.
They're
pussies. They don't have a social life.
Our great grandkids are going to be speaking fucking Chinese at this rate. Let's just fucking call it what it is. Because no, I'm being serious. You could say what you want to. You can look at the military propaganda that we put out, oppose the other countries. We are falling behind. And everyone wants to complain about machismo and all this shit. Oh, it's fine. Some people might not like it or whatever. But these kids nowadays are fucking soft. They have zero life skills. They can't do anything but use their fucking iPads. And it's just, I'm scared. I'm scared of what these kids, because they're not ready for real life.
Yeah.
If they're crying because they hit someone with a baseball, I mean, god damn, that's just, it's baseball. It happens. It was an accident.
Look at that. Look, testosterone is down like 70% on the planet, guys. Facts. Coupled with less fathers equal to, that's true. I'm telling you, and it's sad. And you know, Chad, man, good night, man. Have a great night, bro. But I'm telling you, man, it's sad and unfortunate. But like, for instance, a great example is, you know, I tell my son all the time who plays football. Now he plays football. Watch this, and I'm trying to make this make sense. And I'm gonna be brief. My son plays football. I live in Katy, Texas. If you know anything about Katy, Texas, it's a suburb of Houston, and there's a certain tax bracket of people, if you get my drift, that live in Katy. depending on where you live at in Katy, it's a certain tax bracket. My son plays in KYF, Katy Youth Football. We're here right now in San Jose, which is why I'm not home. You got to forgive me. We're here right now in San Jose as my son is out here trying in a training camp with the San Francisco 49ers. They came in, they get a chance to go to the training camp, hang out with the people. My son just sent me a picture with some guy named Fred Warner. Have no idea who that is, but he just took a picture with him, got him to sign some other shit, whatever the case may be. Now, mind you, that is the privilege of us being here. Now, I tell my son all the time, hey, bro, if you really want to learn how to play football for real, let me take your black ass to the hood, where these kids have to use football as a way to make it out. You don't have to make it out. Your parents have made it out for you, where you can just get the best education, the best this, the best that. The kid that has to figure out what they're going to eat, and I'm not using that in a negative space.
No,
I'm using that. I'm using that on, hey, you put a kid against my kid, and that kid is saying, hey, it's either you or me. My son is going to lose because he's soft, and I'm saying that about my own child.
Yep.
He is soft. So I have to strengthen him, and I got to make him better. But that's the reality of the situation. Thank God that I'm a dad that's here, that's playing the role, that's saying, hey, I got to get my kid together, because if he goes up against a kid in the hood who's saying, hey, it's either you or me, my son ain't going to make it. Because if he get hit too hard, he crying. If it's something going on, he's crying. Compare this to, I came up, I got hit, I had to dust that shit off. And if I was crying when I walked in my house, I was getting my ass whooped when I walked in the house. Why are you crying? He tackled me. Oh, so what? It is what it is. Toughen up.
Masculinity is made to be almost a bad thing now. I mean, when Gillette's coming out with campaigns against toxic masculinity, when it comes to razors. Now, granted, even this conversation, I say a lot of this tongue-in-cheek jokingly. Obviously, they are little kids. I do have empathy, but it's just like, kids can't get yelled at by other men now. Like, that's the thing is sports. Like, I was yelled at every time I stepped on a field by 5 or 6 different dads that weren't my dad.
And it was
so
okay.
When I got into the job workplace in the oil field, I didn't have issues with other grown men yelling at me and telling me that I was fucking up. Because if I was fucking up, I wanted to know and get better. It's not like that nowadays. You can't talk to kids. You can't yell at them. You have to use pronouns and all kinds of shit.
Man, let me tell you something, Trey, and Vinny knows this. Me and Vinny work real heavy in the music industry. You couldn't come up in this music industry with thin skin. You couldn't. Not where Vinny is in his career, not where I'm at in my career. You couldn't come up with thin skin. The guys that were training us and teaching us the music business, you had to beat them there. If they were getting to the office at 2:00 in the morning, if you wasn't there at 1:00 in the morning for a full hour day, for a full 12, 15, 16, 17 hour day, then you're lazy, and they calling your ass lazy, and they telling you, yo, you don't want to be in this shit, go home.
I want to take this real quick back to gaming, because one of the most crazy things to me is 15 years ago when Halo first came out, the waiting rooms in Halo were nothing but kids telling each other that they were going to rape their mothers.
Yeah,
and that was the normal talk. And now kids cry on the littlest things. So like, it's a whole different world, and it's very interesting to see how it's going to play out. It's very interesting to see how it's going to play out.
Dude, hey, do you know that people like Sky Sports had over 1,400 complaints when Paddy Pimblett, that last fight, like mockingly teabagged his opponent? 1,400 people complained. Like, who has the kind of time to worry about 2 grown men fist fighting and what happened afterwards?
Yeah.
That's the problem, is these fucking white women have too much time on their hands, and they're causing all these problems. I'm being serious. You think I'm joking? White women are the problem.
All right, here we go, you guys. We got some black box Nintendo.
Yeah, so the black box, going back to what we were talking about last week. So I just wanted to show you guys what kind of numbers, because I know Bryan had asked the question, what kind of numbers these things are doing. So, 10-yard fight, which Bryan showed a video of last week. No Reve, round SOQ, mid round seal of quality is what SOQ means. Mid production went for $9,000. Donkey Kong 3, which was really surprising, 8.0 B plus seal. This is a hang tab mid production, $60,000. Duck Hunt. This is now, remember, guys, I was talking about the matte and the gloss sticker sealed, which are the first and second printings. So this was a Duck Hunt first print matte sticker sealed copy. So that's why this thing went off like this. 144,000 for Duck Hunt. Excite Bike was a second print gloss sticker sealed. It went for 87,000. So yeah, I mean, these things are going nuts.
If you have that Duck Hunt, are you putting it next to the zapper gun on the wall? You got to buy a zapper and just put it next to that thing on display, baby. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you get the orange zapper or the original zapper?
The original.
OG, man.
Yeah, I agree. The orange one was cool though.
Just think about it, like that Duck Hunt is equivalent to what my house that I'm living and talking to you guys in right now cost. Like a piece of I just
That's true, bro.
It is. I mean, every one of these things right there. I mean, even the 10-yard fight for $9,000. I mean, that's rent for a year or mortgage for a year for a lot of cases. I mean, the 60,000, that's a Corvette. I mean,
feels like such a good deal.
Is
when
a
we're
car.
looking at the other prices.
The Excite Bike is a high-end European sports car if you want one. I mean, these are fucking unreal numbers.
Unbelievable. Yeah. And like I said last week, don't ignore the CIBs. Don't ignore the ones that are opened already. It's okay. You can reach, if a sealed Duck Hunt first production is going for 144,000, think of what a opened played copy of the production.
30, at least 30K.
At least, 30K. Very least 50. I'm thinking. Now.
Yeah, like that's why I said my Nintendo. I'm shit. $10,000. You can give me $3,000. $3,000, $4,000. Hey, I don't care. I mean, come on now.
Yep.
Really?
Dude, the guy. Hey, literally, the guy in the golf video that looks like the fucking Heritage guy who fucked me. 100%, like 100%. That is the same guy from Heritage from Friday who did me wrong.
So 9.8 sealed mid production. Golf went for 14,400. Ice Climber went for 33,600.
Jesus Christ.
Pinball sealed, hang tab mid production, almost $30,000. And then we're getting to mid production. Now look at this, Mario Brothers. Look at all this. That's not just glare. That's like scuffing on the actual front of this thing. So this is a mid production
8.0.
8.0. So there's no, I don't think this is a Rev A. It's not Rev A.
Sealed. It says A sealed hang tab 3 code mid production NES Nintendo 85.
Yeah. Yep. So this is 96,000. So it's crazy. That's what I was saying. That's what I was saying. Go for those older, even if you need to go for the later printings, it's okay.
Look at this one.
This is just the back of that same game. And then this was a 9.4 sealed later production oval that went for almost $40,000.
Wow.
Jesus.
Wow.
So exciting.
Jesus. That's a car.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right,
This
you guys.
shit is so exciting.
Here we go. There's, I going over some of these. You see some of these books that sell. You see a lot of the same books, but then the thing to me is starting to see some of these books that are criminally low. And I think Amazing Spider-Man is $298 is criminally low. You got the first time Todd McFarlane ever drew Spider-Man, a black suit Spider-Man, a great cover, and it's a 9.8. It's only sold for $685.
That seemed like that was a $1,200 book a couple years back. Am I crazy?
People are paying more for that acetate UF4 than a first McFarlane Spider-Man 9.8. That's crazy.
Do I have some shit to trade you guys on Friday? Then?
Oh man. How about a second print Ninja Turtles Raw sold for $1,400?
Mad about that. I had 3 of those.
Those Spawn blank sketch are starting to come down in price. You could get a signed and an unsigned one for $281. That's not bad. That's a great buy to me.
Yeah,
you guys know how McFarlane and Spawn fans are about variants. It's next level, So be on the lookout for the deals. That 9.8 Marvel premiere, one of the toughest books to get in a 9.8 is that book right there. That's why it's selling for $5,000.
Gee. Wow.
Such a tough book. And those two Swamp Thing books to me are criminally underrated too. I mean,
those rights and covers are so fucking dope.
Beautiful. That number 9 is such a great cover. It's, to me, it's a better cover than number 5. And number 5 is tripling it in price.
That doesn't make a lot of sense.
No.
Because I'm with you. I like the 9 cover way better than the 5.
It's gorgeous. And could you imagine having a rights and autograph? Like, that's one of the ones where I'd be cool with having a rights and autograph on it. You know what I mean? Here's one that's interesting. How about Mickey holding a gun?
That's crazy.
I love it.
$400. Back when people actually had to kill their food?
Exactly, right? He's holding a gun. He's going hunting. You will not see that today. And that's a book from 1943 in beautiful looking condition. I mean, it's very nice looking. 36 bids, $406. To me, that's a great book to be on the lookout for. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 3 variant, which is super, super rare. A 9.0 sold for sold for $1,000. Yeah, this is the one where it has the layered in the whiter letters behind it. That is so rare. So rare. And even a 9.0 for $1,000, man, I feel like that's going to be a good buy on that one. Ash cans, we all know about how some of those ash cans go crazy. That's an ash can for number 2, not even number 1.
Wow.
Yeah.
Those are so rare though.
So rare.
Was the yellow ones were the first? Were those the smaller print run, or what was the deal with the yellow?
I think there was a blue, orange, yellow,
black.
Well, there's also that famous one with Batman and who's the guy that Matt Wagner created that was in Primer?
Grendel.
The famous Batman Grendel one, which is really, really
yes,
tough
there
to
is some hard to find. You're right about that. There's some really weird Grendels.
The Batman 50 photo variant signed by Affleck, like that is beautiful. The way they put the Batman logo on there is perfect for an autograph. That's a great book to me. Like, I'm not big on getting, these stars to sign stuff, but that seems perfect. Like,
hey, is that the photo is that signed or is that from the poly bag?
It's signed.
Right, but remember the one that
did they come signed like that?
Yeah, remember I talked about, like, I have the only gal, because you remember in those poly bags from like the Harley Quinn's Black Book and thing like that, and the first Justice League movie, they released 5 copies of Zack Snyder, 3 Affleck, 2 Godot, and a couple others, and I was the one, I bought one of the Godots. I mean, it was inserted into the poly bag, so it wasn't signed at an event. And I had like a 3-month conversation with CGC because they didn't believe me. They're like, no, you got this signed. And then I remember I had to get literature from like previews saying that there was going to be randomly inserted. And then they removed.
Did you get yours graded?
Yeah, I got a 9.6.
Come back to yellow?
Yeah, 9.6 yellow.
Okay. So you know what, you guys? There's another thing we're going to have to do a deep dive on because that's here's the other thing. I got a 9.8 from Jamal Michaels from a sketch variant and the same thing that I bought. I knew that those poly bags were going to be rare. There were some sketch variants that some big artists did. Who's that famous country singer? Chris
Stapleton.
He's got a bald head.
Oh, Chris Gaines. No, you're talking about the dude from he won American Idol. He sings shitty like butt rock.
Daughtry. Yep. He did a Batman cover in the
with
same
Jim
time
Lee.
period with Jim Lee. Yep, you're right.
You're 100% right.
We got to do a deep dive on that for everybody because that is something that is super interesting. Fantastic number 1, which is a British UK comic magazine. This is very interesting to me because it came out in 1967. It's got first appearance of Iron Man, Thor, and X-Men all in one book for a UK.
I love it.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Uncle Scrooge number 6. This is so cool, you guys, because it is a classic Uncle Scrooge cover. He's washing money, and it's a signed personal file copy of Carl Barks.
That's dope.
Yeah. Super cool.
Yeah, Chris Gaines is Garth Brooks. AOA. I don't know where the fuck I was going with that.
You don't want to talk about Chris Gaines. this is interesting. Here you guys go. Like we're the big news about talking about CGC and is people going to go to CBCS? Not if you're going to lose $1,000. There's a 9.8 CBCS white pages, the same book, and it's sold at the same exact time and $1,000 difference.
Dude, my CBCS 9.8s are so much tighter than my CGC 9.8s as far as grading. Like, I get this. It's kind of like the PSA, BGS argument.
Yep.
But golly, I think there's going to be a gigantic market correction in 5 to 10 years. And a lot of these CBCS, especially on the vintage, the blue chips, I think that they're going to get a lot closer in value.
Especially those early graded CBCS books.
They were, well, the ones that when Brock was there grading,
yes.
Absolutely. They didn't give any grades away. I mean, a 9.8 at CBCS was a 9.8.
Yeah.
Yep.
I got a couple 9.8s moderns that have multiple color breaks and shit. And it's just like, huh? I mean, I'm glad to have them, but I'm also know that they're really not 9.8s.
Yeah, and I've never once questioned between buying a CBCS book or a CGC. I mean, this is crazy to see this, but I never really thought there was any big difference, and I still kind of stand behind that. But
yeah.
Dude, one of my favorite things to do early on was to buy PGX slabs of blue chip books and fucking press
Crack
and
press. Yep.
I mean, Sean and I did that for months and months and months. I mean, I remember an X-Men 4 I got, an X-Men 4 5.0 PGX. I paid like $300 for it. You know, pressed it, cleaned it, the whole 9 yards, came back like a 6.5, and I mean, made another $1,800 on it. Did multiple books like that. PJX was a gold mine. Really fucking was.
Hold on, Goof. Dog's over here going, what are you doing? All right, so these are two more books right here that I think are very interesting. They both sold at the same time, and I feel like these are the type of books to be on the lookout for. A lot of people don't know a lot of these first appearances in these old Disney books, and you got First Jiminy Cricket, First Pinocchio, with some great covers, great old covers, 10 centers, 1939 Disney stuff. Great pickups right here, in my opinion. So be on the lookout for that stuff. Get educated. Yeah. Gorgeous.
The paper quality from 39 for those colors, those reds and blues and greens to still stand out is unreal.
Yep.
Let me just say, I'm sorry, before you go to the toys. Now, Mickey with the Street Sweeper. I need that book.
That's pretty badass.
Mickey with the Room Clearer.
Mickey with the llama ready to fucking spit.
Llama. I need that book.
Cowboy Bebop #1 and a 9.8 sold for $500. I think that's a good book still, even though a lot of people didn't like the live action. I think Cowboy Bebop is such an iconic series that people still love. We talked about this Bandai Digimon Saber Melon or Saber Leomon. It was loose last week. Now we've got a carded one that sold for $1,225 on 14 bids. So
Jesus Christ, who knew Digimon was still doing this shit?
1994 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Apollo 11 figures. You've got Turtles, you've got NASA. Two big collectors in both groups. Great buys if you guys can get them for cheap. Be on the lookout for those in your flea markets.
Damn, Joe. Thanks, homie.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
Joe
dropped a hell of a good night present, brother.
Yeah, 1999 super chat. Joe, thank you so much. We appreciate you.
Brother.
You know it.
Thank you to AOA last week. He started it off. We appreciate any help we can get.
Amen. Vintage Star Wars Boba Fett figure from 79 in mailer with box and paperwork explaining it does not come with the firing missile. Great piece of nostalgia, history, and a great toy. $765. That feels like it's low. I feel like that's going to be double that in a year or two.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want the General Lee, the original General Lee toy from Mego back in the day? $285, 16 bids. I feel like that was a good deal.
Marcus, can I ask you an honest question? Does that car offend you?
I used to watch the TV show.
Okay. I assume so, but it's funny nowadays. You'll see a lot of people that have a General Lee and they have the flag taken off. And I was just curious where you stood on that. If you took it a certain way, or if you just kind of rolled with the punches because of like you said, the TV show and et cetera, et cetera.
I think here's the thing when it comes to shit like that. Hello.
That's my fiance is wanting to know why we're doing 3-hour podcasts again.
I used to watch the show. I knew about it. My mom was very, she explained all of it to me. I mean, at the end of the day, that show wasn't even about that. You know what I'm saying? When you was watching Dukes of Hazzard, it wasn't anything kind of crazy or whatever. Of course, the meaning is there when you have, when you know. But even in that show, with all of that, it never depicted any of that. So I remember being a kid with other kids like me watching Dukes of Hazzard and never having that connotation of, hey, this is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Did you watch Fall Guy?
Did I watch Fall Guy? Yes.
Fuck it. I remember like those shows like Fall Guy, Magnum PM, Knight Rider, Dukes of Hazzard. I mean, those were the shows that like came on. Like
shows. Daisy Dukes. I mean, think about it. You can't say you didn't watch Dukes of Hazzard and then you had Daisy Dukes and everybody wore Daisy Dukes. Black, white, Asian, whoever, they all wore Daisy Dukes. Asians ain't got no ass, but they still had Daisy Dukes on. So it's like, so it's the same thing, bro. Like it doesn't matter. Like I mean,
Boss Hogg was a pimp.
Boss Hogg was a pimp. So the Lab Roscoe Pico train. I mean, people. It was television. It was television, people. I mean, you just got to look at it for what it was. Now they wasn't out there talking about take out all the black people and all that. I mean, it was a regular TV show.
I don't think did they. I haven't Googled it, but I was trying to remember if there was anything racially charged in that show that I remember, and I can't off the top of my head. Doesn't mean that there wasn't.
Yeah, right. No, I don't think it was. I think it was just they just believe in the Southern. Here's a good old boy. Didn't mean any harm. I mean,
dude, that's a fucking Waylon Jennings original. That's still a fucking hot jam.
Yeah, what I'm saying.
This set of GI Joes right here is still something that I'm on the lookout for. The Night Force sets are so hard to come by, and to get a Night Force Shockwave is one of the coolest GI Joe figures in the game. Shockwave is a great figure, but that bright blue really doesn't work out for a figure. I mean, it's good looking, and I love the original figure, but the Night Force version is like perfect. And that figure alone will sell for some big money. Be on the lookout for any of the Night Force Joes, especially this set. It came in a 3-pack. Super tough to come by. One of my top 5 favorite G.I. Joe figures. Here's some interesting stuff. We talked about it last week, getting into some of the promo stuff. We got a Dr. Dre Chronic poster from 1992, a promo poster, Death Row Records. I mean, the Chronic, it rhymes with iconic for a reason, right? $240, 27 bids. I would love to have one of those, frame that sucker, put it in a nice museum frame, throw some glare-proof glass on it. I'm all over that. Nirvana concert. April 4th, 1994, from the night Kurt Cobain died.
Wow.
Okay. They had the concerts. This is Probstein auction. It blew me away. Probstein talked about this. I couldn't believe it. I never knew about this. This is a really cool item. This to me is the jewel of the show tonight. Nirvana's Phantom concert ticket from 1994, April 5th.
That is so
cool.
Yeah, I think it should have gone for 3 times that. Rap Sheet magazine. I'm surprised people still have these because like the quality on these weren't so great. Like somebody found a nice run of them. You've got the Jay-Z one from 1998, sold for $342. You got a nice run right here. I mean, look at those prices.
Wow. I know I got some.
No, wow, Rap Sheet newspaper.
How in the fuck did Mia X go for more than 8-Ball and MJG?
Crazy. It's crazy, dude.
First of all, Mia X, that was he was
Ghetto Boys
at one point.
Master P.
Mia was dope, but she wasn't. I mean, you put the career. I mean, compared to 8-Ball and MJG with Mia X, it doesn't even match up.
There's a
Mia X
song
was coming on that No Limit drive. Like that's
true.
Baller G was Mr. Big. They call him
You're
Mr.
not wrong.
Big. Yeah, I mean, I'm there with you, but Mia X just had that Master P machine behind her. That's why I was going up for a little bit more.
There was a song, and I'm trying to remember it, on the Snoop album when he was on Death Row. It had Mia X, Mystical, a couple other guys, and it is one of the best songs out there on the whole No Limit catalog. And Mystical's verse in it is fucking next level, man. And even Mia X's verse in it was great. I can't remember.
Mystical
the damn
needs
song,
to call Vinny after this last weekend.
All right, here we go. Look at this. All right, hold on. I just jumped. Hold on.
That's my childhood.
Yeah. There we go. Right here. Rap sheet from December 97. You got the Puffy on the cover, $305, 71 bids. How about Rap Masters magazine? Remember Rap Masters? Holy shit, man.
I don't think we got that in Oklahoma.
Hold on, stop. Back up. Wait. Rap sheet, Puffy. Why is this man on the mic? I love it.
That's why it sold for $305.
Rap sheet was fucking spitting the facts back in December 97. He's like, why in the fuck is he even on the mic?
Why is this man on the mic? I love it.
And the Kid Dynamite Sport Illustrated. Oh man, that is so good to see right now. Like that just takes me back instantly to a whole different time period when Mike Tyson was the greatest thing ever. And $282 on 34 bids. That feels like it's low. I would love to see the condition of that. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is the market report for August 10th, 2022. Thank you for hanging out with us, you guys. I want to thank Joe, AOA. We got real quick before we end tonight. We are going to give away our books. Shout out to everybody that hung out with us tonight. Here's our giveaway winner. Let's get it.
That's pretty badass.
Hey man, I should put my name in there. God damn, did I miss it?
I have a chance.
You can't make this shit up.
Wow. Okay, clearly we gotta go.
We can never do a giveaway on this channel again. Look at these motherfuckers.
Wow, what if it come back again?
Then we're ending the show, baby.
Hey,
Shout out to AOA.
Yeah.
Thank you, AOA. We appreciate you, brother. You know it. Again, thank you to everybody that hung out tonight. We're getting the show down. We're all really enjoying doing the show for you guys, and we really hope that you guys enjoy it. Drop some comments on the YouTube video. Let us know how we're doing. Tell us what you guys want to see. Tell us what you guys want us to talk about. If there's anything out there you're interested in, make sure you hit that sub button. Make sure you hit that thumbs up. Give us all a follow, and you'll get guys some great information. I can't believe how much it's fun it's been. Adios.